All right, guys, today we got Mendo Dope on the show. They rode down here all the way down from Mendocino County, got a flat on the way. The boys still showed up in a drop top Shelby. They are not fucking around. Go check out Mendo Dope's YouTube account and their channel, or if you're coming from their channel, welcome to First Smoke of the Day. Welcome to the First Smoke family. We want to make sure we hook you guys up and show love just like you show love to us by coming and watching the content. So go to fsotv.com, firstsmokeoftheday.com. Go to the top section. You'll see a tab that says sponsors. Click on that. That's going to show all the coupon codes and how to get hooked up from everybody that support the show as our special thanks to you guys. So make sure you go check them out. Dr. Dabber, go get an XS, get some money off of that. Go get hooked up with Nickels and Dimes, a really dope clothing line that supports us, a personal friend of mine. And then go get hooked up with Raw Rolling Papers. You guys know exactly who they are. They've been holding every smoker down for a long, long time, and we appreciate their support on the show. Black Leaf's got the rest for you guys. Check it out right here.
Like Pac said, we get you hooked up. If you're a grower and you want to try a new nutrient company, or you want delivery to your spot discreetly, or if you just want to go into the grow store and have them price match, growgeneration.com. But guess what? FSOTD.com, we get you hooked up on all that. All you got to do is go to the sponsors page and you get hooked up directly to them with the discount. Grow Generation, Drip Hydro, and then one we just added, Growers. This is one of the brand new technologies you're seeing sweep the industry, Faven lighting. Under canopy lighting for your garden. Increase your yield. We're about to chop it up. We get some really cool knowledge on what's happening with this undercarriage lighting now in cannabis. If you're interested in it and you want to up your grow, they also carry it at Grow Generation. So all the discount codes though go back to fsotd.com. Get hooked up. Wait till you hear the raid story with Mendo Dope. We talk about infusing music. We talk about Mac Dre. We get into all this. Very cool guys, hardcore traditional market dudes originally. And if you haven't seen Mendo Dope, hit their YouTube. I mean, full gardens with them standing in the middle. They do a 40-hour harvest through October. I mean, stuff I haven't seen anywhere else. Mendo Dope, First Smoke of the Day. Time to roll up.
Hey, what's good, everybody? It's First Smoke of the Day. We're back again with another episode. It's your boy Pat God's in the building here with Black Leaf as always.
I'm ready, man.
What's up, Biggs?
Jars out front, smelling great. I've been watching videos all morning. Music videos.
We got the Mendo Dope Boys in the house. How you guys doing?
What up, Pac and Black?
What up, man? I know, right?
A long road down from Mendo, but you guys made it.
Yes, we made it. We could not give up.
Came in style, too. I seen the Shelby down there, the drop top.
Yeah. Like for a long time now, we've been renting cars for all these concerts, and we realized it's not that much money to get the Adrenaline Series cars. So now we just, like, what car do you have? That's a Camaro, Mustang.
Fire.
And,
the Shelby's nice.
Shelby,
that's a nice one.
We've been looking for the Shelby for quite some time.
Yeah,
every time we're traveling, we're like, "You got the Shelby here?" And they're like, "No." We're like, "Where is it? We've been seeing posters about it." I called him. I said, "Where do we rent? Do I got to go to Florida, Vegas, or LA, or where? It's got to be one of these big cities." And she's like, "Oh no, we can't. I can't have it for you. We can't find it." And I'm like, "Dude, we rent from you all the time." And we had the last their special Camaro a couple years ago, like for my bachelor party. So like when they drop these new ones, we try to try it out, you know. And the Shelby's sick.
Where do you guys rent from?
Hertz.
Yeah.
Hertz.
Hell yeah.
We put the Hertz in our mains.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they do that.
I'm banned from Enterprise.
Wow.
I had a rental car get stolen and they fucking ran my ass.
That?
Yeah, bro.
That's not even your fault.
Crazy.
Yeah. Because we've took them back with spaghetti string tires sticking off the tire. You know,
noodle tread.
Like where they couldn't even park the car, you know what I mean? Like they're never going to be able to bring it out until they get new tires on it. Like it's noticeable.
We were scissoring off like noodle chunks of rubber. And even it was flipping up and hitting the wheel well and everything.
Hit a curb one time, had to get a permanent marker, black the rim back out so it doesn't have the whole silver shine from the curb notch, you know?
Yeah.
And they don't ever say nothing.
From the beginning, we've always rented cars and just went crazy on them and tested them and pushed
What'd you think of this one compared to the other ones?
Really cool.
I still like the Camaro, the favorite, but this one's really cool.
This one's been fun for sure.
Yeah.
We got a little loose last night. It was dope. Yeah, because it was weird how it worked out. You know, the tire, we riding up here, popped our tires in a pothole, popped two of them and broke both rims. So we had to take it to the shop and
hauling ass, huh?
not even hauling ass.
It was over this little bridge and this little kind of a back road in a way, not on the freeway, and just right over the 2-lane bridge. There's 2 giant potholes. I got a picture of it. So for trying to do Caltrans thing, like reimbursement for this problem, and it's a giant pothole, dude. It's huge. It was just kind of nothing I could do in a way. I was kind of like, it was a bad timing. Look away for a second, like all of a sudden, oh, that looks kind of big. And I'm not, we used to have a truck for a long time, you know, I don't care about potholes forever. And we got this new car last year, and one tiny little thing, it's got such low pro tires on it. It's half the problem. And we got to be careful on every single bump. Now it's like,
that's hard to do out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking Mendo, you're talking.
This hole was one of the biggest ones I've seen for sure.
I know. I seen you stick your hand in. I was like, oh shit.
Caltrans has to do something about this one.
It's funny. My boy told me about that too, and I'm like, dude, when you get a flat tire, the last thing I want to do is backtrack half a mile. Go take a video and a picture of the pothole, and be like, this is why.
And I don't know if
try to get reimbursed and deal with the state.
I don't know if you need the picture, but I had to get the picture for sure. And it was like where it popped, we had to take the car back 20 miles. So then when we got there all figured out and did the whole switch up, brought new tires this morning to them so they could mount the new tires on the new rims they had to go. And then we drove past the same spot. So we were like, okay, we'll stop.
Yeah, let's stop here, get a picture.
Then we're back to where we started again.
At least it wasn't one of them sketchy drives. It's a couple jars, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
You know, when you pop a tire and you're like, all right, this is going to be a problem.
I shouldn't. I can't be sitting here.
100%.
You head up the road. I'm gonna hang back.
Tuck these in the bush. Yeah.
It was just it was sketchy to be here. Yeah. So we're glad to be here.
Yeah.
We didn't want to miss it. You know, it's like the schedules are, you guys are busy, our schedules are busy. And it's like, we wanted to do this last year too. So it's cool to finally
We've been excited to come on this show. You guys have been killing it. Like, props to you guys. Shout out like the content you guys are bringing, this cannabis culture, information, the education, everything that you guys are bringing out. It's like connecting all these roots. We love listening to it. We sit back in the grow when we're trimming, we're listening to podcasts. So you guys keep on at it, man.
Appreciate you guys, man, for real. And you guys are killing it. We're really excited to hear your whole story today. The movement you guys got going, from the music, you know, to the cannabis, just to everything you guys, and just the area, you know, it's coming from the real roots. Like Mendocino is crazy for anybody that hasn't been up there. NorCal is the birthplace, you know, it's where all this stems from, in my opinion, for the United States, at least.
Yes.
You know, it's cool that what you guys have managed to do and what you guys continue to do with your whole movement is very dope.
Hell yeah. So, thank you, man. Thank you.
It's super fun. And it is crazy just how we were born there, you know, and just grew up. And we didn't know, like, as kids, because our parents weren't growers or anything either, but we slowly saw what was going on and then, you know, dove right into it.
So let's talk about it. Growing up, going to school and stuff, where you guys had, you know, friends that were like, you knew their parents were in the business, or?
It started to be where we were just starting to want to smoke weed more, you know what I mean? As we're starting to smoke more weed, then we started meeting people who, like, the people we're buying weed from, probably they get it from their dad, or they know a grower or something like that, or they work at a farm. As we got maybe like seniors or something, then we started getting connected with farms themselves. And then like going out, then we get a job from the farm and start trimming with the homie that introduced us to this guy or whatever. So it was kind of like a slow trickle in a way of just smoking and then getting into the rest.
In the very beginning, like, was with where we first got our hands on weed was actually from our uncle. Like our cousin got into his stash, and our uncle, he was like the only one in the family who was working with any kind of weed stuff. So that was like our first he stole some weed out of his stash, little tin thing, and we smoked it all together out of a little metal pipe and
no prototype, just some shake out the prototype in a tent in the outdoor in the front yard.
And your parents weren't in the biz,
they weren't, no,
but still living up in what?
But living right in the heart of it all.
Yeah. Our mom's a nurse, so she's like pretty square. You know, she's never liked weed that much.
She smoked like back in college. Like one time, she tells like, yeah, you know, I smoked a couple times, but I didn't really stay into it or want to keep doing it or whatever.
Yeah, she just saw trimmer accidents. She was like, yeah, a guy come in, cut his finger off, you know. Yeah, no. So you grow up in the mix. Like, give us your first time smoking weed. That was the
that first time. Yeah, like you're in the tent, we smoke out of the. I don't really know. Like everyone says, I don't know how high we got either. It's funny listening to you guys and hearing people tell their story. some people are really good at knowing if they got high or not. I don't think we got too high, but I bet it got us started for sure. We didn't stop for when we started, it wasn't that long until we got high the next time, and stole more weed. And
yeah, I can't remember exactly how long that gap was until it was like, oh, let's get some more weed, or can you?
It wasn't that
get
long.
Some more, cuz what's up, man?
The first time was in a tent though, with all your uncles
outside of the yard, with our uncle's weed, with our cousin.
Yeah, have like sleepovers at our cousin's house. And we'd build models and get high and stuff over there. Yeah, after a while,
in the heart of the triangle.
Hotbox in the tent.
Yeah. Trying to be sneaky about it, This was back when I was in like 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah, he was really young.
I was super young. Brian, he's 2 years older than me. So, and my cousin, he was in.
That's what happens when you're the younger sibling.
Yeah,
you get pulled in early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
like, "Nah, you're coming too, man."
We're all getting in trouble.
When they wouldn't want me to come, I'd still be like, "Man, I'm rolling with y'all." Like,
and then over time, it was like petrified. More money. Damn, when he comes in, it's more lunch money to have for a bigger sack.
Oh shit! Everyone's got 5 on it.
Exactly. Yeah, I got 20 for the week. I got 5 for the day.
He became a part of the crew real quick.
Let's go session.
But way young though. Yeah, he was super young when he started.
When I first started.
And he was really short. I feel like weed might stunt your growth too, because he was short until he was like a sophomore, like 4 foot or something, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quite 5 foot tall for a while.
I even had this hoodie back in the day that said Shorties on it, and I'd always everyone always be, "What's up, Shorty?" And back even before the music days, before we started getting into music and even thinking about stuff, I was always called Little E because I was the little brother. So I'd always be like, "Oh, Little E's here. Little E, what's up, man?" And gradually, as I got into music and stuff and trying to figure out our names and different things, I was like, I ain't going to be called Little E for my music career.
Yeah, I ain't going with that. I got the foresight to see, that ain't going to work. Yeah.
So that's how it kind of evolved, and working with Reek Daddy and stuff, that's who really came up with my name, Oldie, for the music side, and even Mendo Dope in general. It's very trippy how that whole thing came about with him. From the weed side, getting into the music, and it's a crazy story for sure. There's a bunch of stuff that happened along the way.
Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So go ahead.
What was going to high school like in Mendocino? And tell people a little bit about Mendocino County for the listeners that don't know about.
Yeah, it's
what it's like up there.
There was right in the high school days is when documentaries started coming out on the TV. Like MSNBC would have things, and they started showing weed stuff about our county and stuff like that. It was the first time people started seeing it on TV, I feel like. But before that, it was 60% of the people in certain neighborhoods. There'd be neighborhoods that don't have plants all the time, but there's a lot of plants just over the fence always coming at the end of the year. October, you see plants tipping over the fence all the time. And
it's the terp aroma in the whole valley. It's like a terp fog, that's there's so much weed out there all the time. Right after the grape smell, then it's straight to weed smell. And it's we didn't realize, growing up, how the county was at all, and how much money was from weed that kept the county alive and stuff like that, Not until we got seniors and right out of high school till we really realized what county we're in and what's special about Mendocino County and stuff like that.
And so your parents, they're obviously in the mix, so they understand what's going on. The first time you guys start to have weed around, are they like, no? Or are they like, well, that's part of Mendo? And
well, it was definitely it was a hard battle. When we were kids, our dad passed away when I was 9, when he was 11. So short after that, that's when we went through a rough patch of going through fighting with each other. We used to fight like crazy. We had to battle centuries. Would have never thought back in the day that we would end up clicking together on a musical thing and do this, and him do beats, me do lyrics. But after our dad passed, we went through a rough patch, getting into trouble, doing all kind of shit, and gradually started and that was long after we had first tried smoking, with our cousin. But we started to gradually get into it, find more stuff, and our friends that we were growing up with were smoking too. So we started realizing cannabis is really helping us, and it's nice. So, but as we started smoking more and bringing weed around, our mom was not cool with it for sure. She was we were trying to be sneaky as hell, bringing weed in or coming in.
So we'd have midnight sessions too. It's another thing we call them midnight sessions. So she would stay up hella late and go to bed at 11 o'clock or almost 11:30 or something. So we had to wait really late to get in 12 o'clock, 12:30. She'll be asleep enough where we creep around the house.
We'd pretend we fell asleep too. We'd be all right,
let's go in the bedroom. You still awake? Yeah. And then go in the front yard and smoke. We had a tree fort, and we had one tree in our front yard.
House, yeah.
We had a little treehouse thing, or then once we had a car, like once we had a stepdad, we would hotbox his car in the driveway too for a long time and not give a fuck because we didn't like him that much anyways.
You think you would get in the car in the morning and be like, what the fuck? Did he say anything or he just played it cool?
Yeah, I don't remember him ever saying anything.
I think he said something before, but he was kind of knew that he was on the edge of like trying to be cool with us and like not make us.
He's like, I know what's going on.
Yeah, it was sick.
You get like the worst part.
It was an old like Caprice, like the box Chevy cop car thing.
Oh,
yeah, we even took it out.
Those are big too.
It was like a not the big one though too. It was a four-door, but it was like a tight little littler than the big ones.
Okay,
I don't know what year it was.
Not the
bubble
Chevy
ones. Yeah. It was sick. It was like a hot rod style too. It was old school. It was sick. We do burnouts in the front yard sometimes, like steal it and drive around the front yard and do a little like rev it in neutral or whatever and drop it to drive.
He got like the worst end. He's like, you don't get to smoke the weed. You just get to smell it in your car that's been sitting stale. Here you go, bud.
Your car that's been tampered with.
Wheels are burned out. It smells like weed. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man, play it cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. Look,
So that was high school in Mendo.
Yeah, right as we're getting, that was high school. And then, there's lots of people smoking weed as like sophomore, junior year, start to really parties and stuff. And we turned into like the stoner crew, like sophomore year probably, where we had the stoner table and we had like the preps and the football players. And it was cool because the stoner table was cool with everyone too, even back in the day. Like we would fuck with people, and tease people, or homies around us would mess with people, throw mayonnaise packets on the ground, pop them and get people's clothes all mayonnaise and mustardy or whatever, like games people play back in the day. We would just watch and laugh at all that stuff. But we were like stoners, sophomore, junior year, we're known like at the school for sure. And we started getting caught with weed at school. And, there's so much gardens too. Like Daniel didn't do it. And I don't even like to talk about it that much, but it's like, it's been so long. It's kind of a trippy time that's passed where it's like back in the day I used to raid gardens too because we needed weed and we were kids and weed was everywhere, so someone started doing it and then we all started getting a little circle where we would go hunt gardens out.
These guys, dude, that's how you want.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny.
The first I've heard of that.
Really,
dude.
Yeah.
Everyone
that was a big thing
getting raided back in the day.
Makes sense.
And people were going crazy. That was another thing, like with sketchiness in high school and stuff, is like because we were just in weed mostly, and there's people into every drug or whatever, but weed was like our main thing still. And there was all kinds of like sketchy times of people trying to raid and like people getting shot at or kids a lot. They changed the laws. Like in our high school time, like there's when weed went legal maybe for 215 when clubs started opening up, and like our homie was like 17, his mom got him a card or something, and we were like sophomores or juniors, so he started going to the club hella young, like before he was 17 or somewhere around 17. And so he started going to the club, and we started getting like really gamed up with the club stuff too.
Damn, bro, you got a dab everywhere we go.
It's discreet, it's portable, nobody knows.
DrDabber.com. Use the code, get your access now.
But around that time,
that's wild to think that you're trying to guard your garden. You see some people out there, you might shoot at them, and it's like, dude, that's fucking kids.
Yeah. And that's like they changed the laws 218 around that same time when he was just getting his card. They changed the fence laws where you could actually not get in trouble for raising your fence past 6 feet because there's like an ordinance or whatever. So that all of a sudden the sheriffs and stuff say, no, you can raise your feet now. We're not going to get you in trouble for it. You need to hide your weed better.
Yeah, you need to keep that hidden.
A lot of people stealing
on a
weed.
6-foot fence with a ladder, you're good. 12-foot fence or let's say 8.5, way tougher to get over the other side and to get back.
And
like it just makes
the plants peeking over the fence, so both ways. Because we would see them, we would go down at midnight or 1 a.m, 2 a.m. We'd park somewhere, hike in with our shears and our tarp or whatever, jump the fence, creep through the back, crazy creepy. Like it was scary. You're going to get shot. We knew could get shot at for sure, but we would still do it too. And then we bring weed to our mom's house to dry it on the roof. One time we dried it on the roof, and then we started drying it in the attic, and then she caught us in high school drying it in the attic.
That was a funny story.
It's like the whole house.
So that was when like the whole big problem with her with weed started. Really, we were going too hard, and having too much. We started taking advantage of her busting us a little bit and not getting us in big trouble.
Because there was numerous times where she had come home like on lunch break randomly, or like come home early from work. And one time in particular was super funny, super funny. I even put it in a song back in the day. Like we were all smoking in the back bedroom, which was like down the hallway in the house. It was the last bedroom. and we're all smoking out, me, him, a couple other friends, and I bounce out to go grab some food out of the kitchen or something, and all of a sudden, boom, the front door opens. I'm like, oh shit, I look over, it's our mom walking through the door. I'm like, oh fuck, they're all in the back hotboxing still, sessioning it up. So I'm like, oh, what? I'm like, hey mom, blah, blah, say whatever, and I'm like, try to start going down the hallway in front of her and creeping real quick. But she was already come down the hallway and she's smelling it. And she's like, oh my God. It's like, there was no time for me to even warn him or tell him. She comes in there pissed off, like, what the hell are you guys doing in here? You fucking, oh man.
She would be so mad. And then like, it was right out of high school probably, she flipped and then started getting cool with it.
And that time when he brought weed
it's
home.
a difference when you're having to be a parent.
Yeah. And if you're under 18 doing what we were doing, if
then they can get in trouble.
I'm tripping on that. If they're 7th grade smoking already, you know what I mean? And
you can get in trouble at that point.
Yeah,
it's like you can have
kids in trouble
because they don't want to get you taken away and shit. Which is, I mean, that's a good parent, you know.
Yeah, and she was a good parent. She didn't like the weed all that much, but slowly we never stopped, and she saw that it also chilled us out, and that it was like as we got really deep into weed, the people that were coming around more were really nice, and everyone like were cool that she would meet. You know, she'd always meet cool people, especially years down the road. Now she meets all these really cool people, and really cool stories and stuff.
Well, she saw it was something different for you, right? And that's when I think parents change, when they realize, oh, this isn't the stigma of these guys out there selling weed with a handgun and do it. Like she starts to see like, oh, this is a spiritual thing. This is a pathway for their career. Like they really love this. They care about this. They carry themselves. Let's say you haven't gotten in trouble for a while either. They start to see okay, he's going to be all right. They're going to be all right.
Yeah. Cause she'll say too, she didn't think we were going to graduate high school. She didn't think we were going to do lots of stuff. You know, she was very worried for a while.
Yeah, I got a lot of the talks about like,
as long as it doesn't go to heavy drugs, you're pretty much good.
Yeah.
It's really when the weed leads to all this other shit, and then start dealing with thieves and liars, and it gets fucked up quick.
Yeah, it does.
We all have felt that and seen that firsthand, and I think that's why a lot of parents fear weed, because they're like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, that much closer to like
gateway to it, because it opens your mind to everything. It's a gateway to the world in general. It's going to be a gateway to see things and open. Like you'll realize
it definitely
other
sparks
people are
curiosity that if you're not careful, you might try the wrong shit, and it's like if you try the wrong shit and like it, you're fucked. And if you never try it, and you got nothing to worry about, but you don't know that as a kid. You don't know to preserve and be like, hey.
And some people just have real addictive personalities where they do that one time, they're screwed. And for me, I can cold turkey things fast. So when we would do different drugs back in the day, I never had a problem just recreationally doing them.
Yeah, that's the issue. Some people can turn it on and off, and some people just turn it on and that light switches on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've seen so many people, friends of ours from back in the day, that just went down the wrong hole and just like got, and like lucky for me, like as being younger, hanging out with these guys, like I'd see them getting into all kind of shit and do all kind of different drugs and things. I never got into that shit. Only a couple things that I would dabble in here and there, but I never got into, cocaine, none of that. I took mushrooms a few times, never did anything besides that. Drinking a while back in the day, we used to drink a bit. Which I'm glad that we strayed away from that, because our dad was an alcoholic and that's how he ended up passing away. So like that was a big thing for us, was to try to stay away from alcohol. And I used to take like ADHD pills when I was a kid. My mom, trying to, fall into the system of, this is what you should do to calm them down or whatever. And gradually, like as we got into weed, like I really noticed that shit changing of like, I did not want this shit no more. Like this is not helping me do anything. It's not helping. I can't eat on it. It's fucking up my sleep, doing this and that. So like gradually, as we started doing more, all the time having weed, and our mom busting us repeatedly, and then him bringing home raided weed and filling the house, and she tripping out.
Yeah, then that was like the most weed
that
ever.
That was like the breaking point of like, I remember she was so pissed. She's bringing bags down from the attic, and she's like, "There's too much here to flush. What am I even supposed to do?
Said. That was the
I can't put this in the yard waste bin.
It's too much to flush." And I kept putting
get rid of the evidence.
And I'm like, dude, it's not even mine. I gotta get it to the dude. I'm just drying it for someone. Like, you're gonna fuck me. I'm gonna be in trouble if I don't get it. So
battle of like
somehow after hours, get it back and bring it down the street to the homie's house who was with the raid with us. So he had his own portion at his house drying. So I talked to him, drying our stuff there too. It was crazy. But that was
because it goes from hotboxing and smoking to like there's a couple pounds in the attic.
Now there's like fresh
dry. Yeah. That's definitely
attic.
Like turning it up.
Yeah, that was like, then we would sell a lot of weed too, like everyone else. So we started getting into weed. Then we would buy an ounce, and then I'd sell 7/8 to keep my eighth, and then we'd do that over and maybe stack more eighths over time and to pounds and whatever. So that was like, a lot of people come to the house also as we started getting into weed and buying 8s all day long or 10 sacks. I would say, I'd drive around my little car, drive around through, our town's small, you can get to everywhere in like 15 minutes. So boom, boom. So I had like, a bunch of people that needed weed at that time. So I was always cruising around, dropping weed off.
Yeah, our mom started noticing a lot of people come over real quick, just like bounce out of the front real quick, say what's up.
We lived right in the middle of town, so people come by unannounced too. And it's like over time when we moved out to the mountains more, it was so nice because our house was like where everyone just knew where it was, and
they just come randomly stop by. Oh, I just stopped by, or whatever.
We moved out one year and we went to the mountains, and it was like boom, no one ever came by unannounced again. It's so different when you're like far in sticks. You got to make sure we're home, and we're liking that out of town like style. So we were in the mountains our whole life, from like looking at it or whatever, but we don't live in the mountains. We're still in the city our whole, like growing up.
Right.
It wasn't until we get like growing nowadays, we're in the real mountains, and like when we moved out of our house to.
And how's it up the hill?
Yeah. And we went out, the outskirts of town. Because we wanted a house that we can grow at too. So like, okay, where can we rent that's outskirts of town? Yeah.
And gradually as our mom got, we got her to be more chill and accepting about us smoking. One of the times like we were smoking in the backyard, and that's like our first plant that we grew. We found a seed and a bud, and we put it in a little flower pot that was hanging up in the top back spot of the mom's backyard. And it popped up and it started growing this little plant, and she ended up finding it, or we showed it to her, and she let us keep it. And she was like, I guess you guys can grow it or whatever. And that was our first plant that we grew right in the backyard at her house. And then the next year we got to grow a couple more in the back, a couple more that she let us slide. And then the next year she let us take over some of the vegetable garden. And then it's like we started figuring stuff out. And then it was like, holy shit, we just grew plants over our mom's fence, and we're right in town, surrounded in other houses who taking over half her vegetable garden. So that alone, she was like, Jesus Christ, guys.
She started getting into it and realizing like the plant itself was cool too, because it was just grew so fast. And like we've been growing, vegetables with our grandpa forever too. So that's also why we love growing weed. We picked it up and wanted to do it because we already were growing other things. And tomatoes were fun because you can grow them huge. We'd grow like 12-foot tall tomatoes and triple cage them skinny, or make them really wide or whatever. We started doing that. So when we grew the weed, it like boosted past the tomatoes, and she's like, damn, this is impressive. Like these plants are super savage. And then right at that time too, it was like probably right out of high school, like right when we graduated, then we started being able to grow at our mom's house before we got our house. And our grandpa started growing because our uncle that was into weed talked him into getting his an indoor room built at his house. It's like, well, all those MSNBC things going on in like sophomore year and freshman year, maybe even. It was like early on. He would watch us with us. We go to his house on Sundays for dinners, and we'd watch those things a lot. They would somehow always be on at that time. And it was an hour-long documentary about weed and Emerald Triangle. And he started seeing it. Our uncles kind of nagging at him. And he was an engine builder for like race car engines and stuff in town, and all kinds of engines, but he specialized in like race car engines for people. And so people that have that kind of money in our town, are the weed people. So he's been cool with weed people his whole life, but he's never fucked with weed. And
he's like, good business though.
Keep growing.
And as he got older, and our uncle's talking to him, he's like, God, I guess I should. Everyone else is doing all this cool shit with all this money they're making. So he talked him into doing a room, and he built a 4-light room. So like, a little bit out of high school, he had a little indoor light room, his little room going. And then we were starting to grow those a little bit bigger garden at our mom's house. And then we moved out, and he kept growing. He was growing indoor for a while.
Yeah.
First pounds of indoor he was selling for 48. So it was like right at that time, like 2006 or 2007, maybe.
You remember what strains back then?
Yeah, like he had Platinum Kush and Purple Kush.
Yep.
Kush. We were starting to get stuff from clubs after a couple of years. He was growing too. We had like bubble gum and cheese. Like the cheese was one that we sucked into growing indoor, but we were starting to get hooked on cheese after a little bit. Growing outdoor, like the cheese flavor was so fire. And everyone at SAC, like we go to SAC. I see you guys talking about SAC. Someone was talking about it the other day how SAC's the hardest market, and SAC was always hard. Once we were in Mendo and we doing good with weed, and we go to SAC and they're so picky, and we're like, geez, you guys are so fucking picky. And they fucking hated the cheese, and we loved it at the time because it's so stupid looking, but it was so tasty. So,
so different.
Cheese was one we were doing in his room for a little bit, trying to grow it right. A lot of spider mites in his room. We were using all the poisons, Avid and Eagle 20 and all the stuff.
The figuring it out process, and no one knows.
Very beginning days, like I think this is what we should do. Maybe.
It's crazy.
A homie that worked at a grocery store, he'd sell us a trifecta. He'd call it. That was Eagle 20,
Oh,
the other
God.
shit and something else. I don't know what the third one was mixed together, and we mix all three of those together.
Mask. Yeah, mask. Yes.
And we barely spray with no mask. We'd barely do this most of the time when we're growing these first couple of years. It's crazy to look back on that.
Yeah.
That
Didn't grow a third ear or something, It's like, holy
and
shit.
indoor too, outdoor we were just started getting it. Outdoor, we didn't really even have bug problems. Always, when we first started growing, indoor was the only time there's ever spider mites. There's no bugs outside at all. Caterpillars, maybe.
Yeah.
It's usually when someone hands them to you. Here, man, here's some spider mites on a plant.
Yep.
That you think is not.
Because we would grow from seed for a long time. We would rarely get clones, really. Like, we had a homie that introduced us to Subcool. He was getting TJ seeds from the beginning, like a long time ago, like when we first growing the second year we grew at our mom's before we grew over the tomato patch spot. So then when we did the tomato patch spot, those were TJ seeds from Subcool. And
Dairy Queen.
ever since then, we've been doing seeds for a long, long time.
Dairy Queen's from the first drop.
Yeah.
That's like
the original
he had
Dairy
the
Queen,
Chernobyl.
the Chernobyl.
Yeah, he had all
Space
the
Jill or
Quirkle.
something.
Yeah. He was like one of the
Dimension and
first guys that was doing, like, before that it was like Dutch genetics. And then there was a little bit of trickling in Canada, but he was like one of the first ones where you're seeing pictures and you're like, holy shit, this shit's purple and orange and pink and green.
Yeah.
A lot of the Dutch stuff wasn't, it was mostly green.
Man, I'm sick of spending so much time going to the store, having to make all these runs and load all this shit up. Yo, what are you doing here?
It's hash making day. I'm always at Grow Generation. If you don't want to have to always go into the store, it's super easy. They deliver 60 plus stores nationwide, delivery right to your doorstep and discreet.
GrowGeneration.com. Use the code, tell them the family sent you, and get hooked up.
You might get like a purple or something, but it's purple.
bit of red.
This was like rainbow, some of the
it's
shit
like,
he's
whoa,
doing, and then
yeah.
frosted out. And his packs were like new age packs.
yeah.
Like, he had a wave that I remember, even like they were like coveted in, early days. We were like, look at this Quirkle.
Yeah, and that's
And the name's Quirkle.
Yeah.
Like it started to change. He put his SKU on it.
Yeah, the jelly bean and stuff like
Jelly
that.
bean.
Like,
Jelly
he
bean, I
had the
remember
candy
that,
in
yeah.
the beginnings.
Yeah.
Tiny bomb.
So we were growing that stuff, early on after the first, like second, third year of growing. That's what we were growing was TGA stuff, and then for a long time just seed. So that was probably partly why we didn't have bugs, I guess, as much in the beginning. I feel like there wasn't even as much bugs also in the beginning, and they slowly just exploded over everyone growing and sharing all the shitty bugs.
Yeah.
I remember the problems that we were having back when we were doing our first little indoor huts of first growing our first plants. That's when we were getting clones from like the club, and we'd get some, this one looks like it should be nice. And of course, that was when everything was like, what the fuck is this? This is not what we wanted. So we'd always have random different shit, and we'd have like 6 little plants and like all different ones and looking at this and that. And then that's when we started. Our homie who found Sub on like forums and stuff, our good friend who passed away a few years ago. He's the one who was like on there, like hunting shit down. Like, dude, you guys got to check out this dude named Subcool. He's got these crazy strains. I'm going to try them out. And he got some and tried them at his house. Like, he was one of the first of our, like, in our circle of homies who like had a grow at his house.
Like a big garden, yeah. Not
we
like
could
someone
go
we
to his
trimmed for,
house.
but a homie that was growing like a real garden.
Yeah, through like those early days and like beginning of high school, we were going and working. That was when we started like trimming. We got into the trim scene. That's when we really dove into like the getting into weed a lot, was going to these big farms and we'd walk in through these patches like, holy shit. And at the time they were tripping on me. I couldn't even trim at some of the spots because they thought I was so fucking young because I was so short. I'd be walking there like, we can't have him here at the farm trimming with us. I'm like, I'm fucking a good trimmer though.
They're like, he's a child.
A day or two, like one of the homies that it was like a homie that we knew the dude that worked for the dude, So then the homie brought us in. The guy that was the middle dude who was happy, oh yeah, you guys are cool. He was there for a day or two trimming, killing it, And then the top dude said, no, we can't have this kid here. This is a fucking kid. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
So then, after that dude that was working for the guy got his own spot, he brought Daniel back again.
Yeah.
And then we started working. That's who we worked for years, was trimming. And that's how we made a lot of our starts of our life. And they started to get money for music or even just do things in general. We didn't have that much jobs. Once we started diving into the weed.
Yeah, we had small jobs here. We'd do this, landscaping, work at this grocery store for a little bit, jump over here. But it was always like, especially every time the season came around, it was like, fuck this job. It's fucking, I'm to the trim room. Like, we make way more money over here than doing this stupid ass job.
And was it mostly just focused in on trimming, or were you like also working like, hey, we need to pull these leaves?
No.
There was none of that yet?
No, it was just trimming.
trimming.
There was one spot early on we trimmed wet, like where they'd bring branches and we'd pluck the leaves off wet style upside down and do that style, and then they machine trim it like
on the old school, like the upside down, like lawnmower style, big cage that they just roll it on.
Yeah. So this is literally ground up. You guys started with literally just smoking weed, and then now to see, because if anyone's, I mean, you got to see the videos. It's insane.
Yeah.
Bro, you guys have a sick setup.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for sure.
thank
Yeah.
you,
It's like we really dope. Like soon as we started to see these things and get into trimming and seeing these gardens, like we started like, fell in love with it. It was like, damn, this is so fucking cool. Like how these guys got these huge plants out from this little seed, and like this one smells so good. And we started getting into really enjoying smoking more and finding out flavors and hunting down good weed, not just like being satisfied with whatever. We're like, all right, let's start finding the good shit. And from there, like we just, really started diving into it. Once we met, Subcool at one of the events, I think it was like 2010 at one of the High Times Cannabis Cups. We went down there with our buddy who introduced us to Sub's genetics, and we got to meet him in person and go to the booth and say stuff to him and get seeds right from him. And then we just started going full throttle, like Science of Dank style. We're like, Sub's whole thing, the art of cannabis. We're like, this is so fucking sick, dude. And we were smoking that weed, growing it, and that's what turned into us being like, man, we should make a song like for Sub, like rep all these strains or do something where we talk about all this stuff that he has. And then we gave it to him at the next cup that we saw him, and that's what sparked our whole friendship of like, he played some music on the Weed Nerd, and we were fucking blown away at home. Like, I can't believe he's playing our music. Holy shit. He listened to it, like, and he was vibing on it. And we went to see him the next time, and it was on. He's like, Mendo Dope. Oh, come on in, come hang out, smoke out. And boom, it just formed this whole fucking posse, and being connected with that Weed Nerd crew. And we started to learn so much. And like, and that was, years before we even thought about breeding, but we were sitting there watching such a dope, legendary breeder work his magic for years before so much stuff started to change,
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's famous for his strains, but also crazy famous for that setup where it's an indoor pool. Mm-hmm. And they grew from the bottom of the deep end of the pool up, so it was flat. And he was just showing you, like, look what you can do to still be undercover. And I'm talking like massive plant where it was still flat. You couldn't see over the pool, but it's growing and everything's in the trippy stuff, right? Where he pushes the envelope and people are like,
he was like,
oh, that's trip. Like, what?
He was also like at the time the first one I feel like that to maximize rooms and soil. Like he'd do big 15, 20 gallon pots, soil, super soil. He was the first one to do like real homemade super soil, like, and teach people, I think, and like really promote it. Because people were for sure doing it, but he was like doing it and really trying to teach people and show people the way. And he had like big ass plants indoors. He'd do like half pound, 3/4 pound plants and get like over 2 pounds of light a lot of times. And he had his room full. Like he just did it different. Everyone had like really clean rooms with the tables and walkways everywhere. And he had no walkway. You had to move plants over to get in the middle of different places and just slam them in there, all organic. And it was super cool to see. And then like with hash, he was like one of the first people that was working, like with Matt Rise was one of the first dudes making, I think, like hash that was like full melt, blonde hash. That was really full melt hash that I ever saw. And that was from Sub, was getting it from him. And Sub was like the first one to go like all organic solventless that we saw, like really promote it and really just take like the weed to the next level and really open up our mind also of like clean weed and like it's cooler that it's clean, not just following the advanced nutrients stuff that we would do previous years, whatever's at the grocery store,
And him just like filming his shows, the Weed Nerd show, like going into the indoor room and showing what was happening and getting to really look at the strains that he was making. And like, boom, this is the latest one. I'm seeing this one now. And like that sparked our, like, once we first started meeting him and he came out to our garden and filmed a little bit. And like, that was the year that we got rated, like that season, 2013. Like that's when we were like, man, we want to start doing videos too, like show the outdoor side of it and start showing people like how to grow trees, like how we're growing them out here. And like, that's like Sub's whole Weed Nerd videos. And that sparked our, our idea of wanting to take the how to grow thing outside. And that's when we first dove into it, especially when they told us after we got rated that we couldn't grow as much as we were. And they were being super fucking strict dicks to us. We're like, man, let's just grow a small amount and blast it to the world then. And just show everybody what we're doing and exactly how we're doing it.
teaching, and he was like, he put his face on a lot of stuff earlier.
Yeah.
People are like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And you're like, oh yeah, his face. You see, you know exactly, and he has a distinct look too.
Yeah, he was a
you're
character.
like, you can see him from a mile away.
He was one of the
like,
ones
whoa,
in the beginning
ballsy.
that was hella proud. And then at Cups, like that first Cup, like 2010 San Francisco High Times Cup or something, it was one of the very first ones, I think, and that we ever went to for sure. It was really early on, and he had his booth selling seeds. No one was selling seeds. Cali Connection was hella scared to sell seeds. All the companies, he was for sure the first one to sell seeds at a cannabis cup. No one was ballsy like that. And to be online
Teaching.
telling people he's a weed dude. And he got busted with weed in like Kentucky, and he had moved state to state in Georgia or something. So he had like super legal states, then moved to Oregon, then ended up moving to Cali, where he was only an hour away from us. So once we met him, it was like, oh shit, he's only an hour away now. We already knew about him in between the time when he moved closer to us. So it was like, we met him right kind of when he moved closer to us. It was true.
So you guys have him to the garden, and you go from this high of like, now I'm working with a breeder. Give us the rundown on the raid. How'd that go down?
Oh man, it was just fucking,
The raid was like, we'll start with, we were growing our mom's house, those 3 gardens. Then we got a different house where we grew for 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
First year sucked real bad. We were using really cold water from the creek, and I think that was the main problem.
and we had no light. We were in like one little pocket of forest.
Very foresty. 2 years there, then we got this house where we got raided. We did one successful year, and every year, get bigger and bigger. So then the first year we grew at that house, we got raided. We probably had like 100 something pounds, maybe like way more than we've ever had by far. And then when we got raided, it would probably been like 200 or 300 pounds, maybe probably 200 or something. So that was like our finally getting to this point where we had a real garden, and there's homies that have been growing big gardens for days, and we're trickling around and doing way smaller stuff than everyone else around us, and then we finally got a spot where we grew it bigger. We figured it out, did really good. The next year we finally did the real shit.
25 plants that we had in the backyard. And they were all in pots. Like that was the first year where we stepped up and did like 400-gallon pots.
We had a couple
400-gallon pots, and the rest were in 200-gallon pots.
Yeah, because people say, oh, that's a low plant count. But when you see exactly what, because now you see you're here thousands. Those 25, you said, plants, what would that have yielded roughly?
It's like 200 something pounds,
Yeah. So people know.
So that's a 25 plant garden. Yeah, that we always stick to the limit still, because we tried to follow the rules, and we wanted to not. We could have like teamed up with someone and grew in the mountains maybe and done some other stuff, like some of these bigger gardens we're trimming for too or whatever. But we wanted to do our own thing kind of, and it was like we didn't have a garden. There's no reason to go huge. We didn't have a property to grow huge also. So we're trying to do legal. We had our card.
We could have put a few more plants if we wanted to, but we're like, let's keep it at 25.
I mean, and the way you guys are doing it, that's still that's a lot of work. That's a full commitment.
Yeah.
400-gallon pots. Like, here we
it
go.
was a lot. Yeah. Especially like our first years doing that too.
Yeah.
Because now it's kind of like butter, it's fucking, we got to figure it out. But that was crazy at the time.
Goes from a full-time job to a part-time job.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had the garden was fucking nice. It was a really killer year. It was popping. We just started harvesting, and we had like a couple plants hanging up in the garage, and then like one other plant that was dry that that morning we woke up and we were checking stuff out, and we were getting ready to harvest. Like half of the garden was like this one strain. It was a vanilla kush that we liked running a lot. And Frenchie cannoli, actually, that was one that he was like, oh la la, like he was fucking trip on it every time. Loved it. Wanted to make we made hash with him numerous times of it. So this time we're like, this is going to be so cool because we have a big batch. We're going to be able to do so much shit. And we're breaking down weed in the kitchen that morning, and all of a sudden our dog starts going crazy, and we look up, and through the window of the house, there's these window panels, and we just see the squad of a line of cops coming down, and the doors into the back is open. Our dog's barking and instantly starts to run. So we're like, oh fuck, we got to go try to grab him. Run out the window real quick, go around the corner to grab him, and there's the squad, all the fucking like however many deep they were. And they're like, hey, what are you guys doing? Blah, blah. Said
the dog came running around the corner. So stayed like at the front door. They look over, dog's running at him. And then we're running towards the dog to stop him, because we were like, they're going to shoot the dog for sure.
We thought for sure.
Because we've heard hella stories where they've shot dogs, So we're like, oh shit, this is bad. And you're going to try to save the dog real quick. And then we're out talking to the cop now. Now we're not in the house hiding from him no more. So we
came right out to him.
That was a problem right there.
And of course, right where like, they're trying to knock on the front door. The dog ran around the back to him, and where we ran around to grab him. So they all of a sudden merged, come to our way, which as soon as you walk around the corner, it was a perfect view where the cement would go, and it dropped down, and there was the garden. And it was
like an overhead view, like
so cool
a nice
looking
hill to the sea of green.
From that view, you look over and be like, holy shit.
It looks like way more than 25.
Yeah, so they're just like, oh, like they just found the jackpot. They fucking...
like, oh yeah, we got a call, and they start talking about what do you have here? And we showed us 25 plants. We got legal. We got a card. And are you guys? They pull us side by like separately, start asking us questions and stuff. You work with clubs. Do you sell to clubs or something like that? And I think I probably said something stupid and said something about or something about this is for the patients. We sell to clubs, or this is for clubs or something. That was a problem, saying that we were selling it in a way, or he put it in our mouth, however I worded it.
If you're not happy with your current nutrient company, or you're not happy with how your products or flower is coming out, try Drip Hydro.
All you got to do is go to fsotd.com, get the discount code, and driphydro.com or Grow Generation stores nationwide, online or in store, we get you hooked up. You got to try Drip Hydro.
Everybody's switching to drip, and whether you want to come in store or you need it dropped straight to your facility, Grow Generation can help you out there. Tell them the First Smoke family sent you and get on Drip Hydro now.
Student to talk at all. That was the final year too.
So a good lesson is just don't say anything
at all. No,
don't eat, no matter what question.
Because that cop don't make the rules anyways. He's not the one to talk to. There's no reason to talk to him.
Goes to the prosecutor and the judge. Is what they're looking at.
Tell him your case.
Everything you say gets written up in a report.
Yeah,
and then used against you.
Exactly.
So if you're just like, hey, no disrespect, but I'm gonna have to talk to my lawyer about it because I'm confused right now.
Yeah, just be like,
I know you guys are doing your job, but that's all I can say.
But there's no reason to talk.
And then you got a chance to do something in court.
Yeah,
a bigger
because your lawyer can be like, well, let's figure out, what's your real story, and by then you can think about it.
How many things can I find?
Find out which lawyer knows the judge well, and get that lawyer.
Yeah, and our town's crazy with all the shit going on. The DAs, there's like cops that are in federal indictments for stealing weed. So many of these gardens were raided.
They steal money too.
Money
exactly.
and weed was taken, and a little bit of weed taken. They probably take a lot of weed too, but money a lot. Is their main goal.
They get you up there with some
they don't report
some paper,
shit,
And they even took stuff that we had on the side, like different, like a tote of like pounds that were already pounded up actually, and we're like, we knew they were gonna find them in the house. We're like, fuck, I wish we didn't.
Pantry.
Just wish we didn't have those in there. And we were like, maybe they didn't find the scale though, and they found the scale, but they didn't even take it. It was funny. What was I gonna say?
So like, where's the money?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they took those things, and then luckily at the time we didn't have much money, but we did have a little bit of money, which happened to be. It was actually music money.
Yeah, it was
at
actually
the time.
Like $1,100.
This was like before we even like got serious in like the music side of making it a business really, and taking it serious, because we started getting so much into the weed side and doing our music where we just were kind of just like rocking outlaw style and doing our thing.
Like at that house where we got raided that year, we had the studio up in the top attic, like second story of the house. So you're really up high looking over the garden from like there's a little window in the booth where we had the booth. And we were making all the songs for Planters of the Trees that year at that house for the first Planters of the Trees CD. So like when they raided us, it was like, man, dude, it was such a crazy situation to end the year like that.
So they took that money real quick, because we didn't have nothing to be like, oh, they fight it and be like, no, that's actually, legit money. You can't take that money. But we didn't have shit at the time.
What do they come in with, shears and just start hacking plants down?
No, like they come in, they harass us, then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're cutting the garden.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We just said it's legal and
Right, no,
it's not legal no more. You can't sell weed. This is too much.
You guys are over the limit. You have the amount that's out here is more than you're allowed to have. And we're like, okay, well, if we can only have 6 plants, then I guess you can cut down the other ones, or whatever's going on. And like, no, fuck no. Like, it's like fucking abalone diving. You get caught with more abalones than you're supposed to have. They take everything. You get fined. He's like, you're now taking the whole garden.
And we're like, it's 25. So then we started getting mad a little bit and kind of arguing a little bit, and then they handcuffed us to the wheelbarrow.
And that's when they sat us down, and they handcuffed him like this. We're sitting right here next to the wheelbarrow, in between it, just sitting there, and then we were just like,
and that's when we just
sat there and shut the fuck up.
Chipper down and the fucking
they backed a wood chipper down the back. There's a little driveway that you could get back into the other side of the garden. So they went down there, and their squad of people just literally went down there ripping cages off.
I don't think they used shears at all.
Just pulling shit.
And it was like champ style, where we figured out how to grow real trees, with the 200-gallon pots. We had triple cages on
They were
some
secured.
Of them. Green tape city.
They were fucking locked in,
So it was a pain in the ass for it. It took days. And we're sitting on the wheelbarrow over an hour, 2 hours. Just sitting.
It took days for them to break all that down.
It was at least 2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours, yeah.
We were sitting there for days, it felt like, just sitting there handcuffed while they're walking around. One guy's looking at us, talking to us. I had my phone for a little bit, and then he saw me trying to record, took my phone, And we're just like so pissed, just sitting there like, what is going on? And just listening to it, like, boom, throw another branch, brrr, chip it.
And they just walk by, popping little shots here and there, each of them. Oh yeah, you guys shouldn't have been doing this, huh? Maybe you should go get a real job, and like bragging like, oh, I make this much at this job and I get this much health benefits and like all this kind of shit. We're like, dude,
you guys look like it's not working for you anymore, or just not going to work for you or something. Like, you know, talking so much shit.
Yeah, so much shit. And we're it was so fun. It was. And before that, you know, we had never gone through anything like that. And besides getting busted with some weed and getting tickets and this and that, getting pulled over with weed. But this was the first interaction of like seeing the squad come up, cuff us, take the whole guard and lose everything. So from that point, like we had to move back to our mom's house for a little bit because we had like everything invested into this one. We're like, man, let's go hard. Let's put it all into this. We had things lined up where this was going to go here. This was going to do this.
And you can't go back to the house and stay there now. Cause it's like, I mean,
it was like we stayed for a couple of months.
Like the last couple of months.
It was expensive too. Like that was like $3,500 a month, and that was 2006 or some shit.
And it was like we already had one, like the last month paid for, whatever it was, and we're just like, we'll just ride this last month and figure out what the fuck we're about to do.
Yeah, so there's no way we're gonna grow here again. And then after we got raided and we put it online, we made the song like the next day after we got raided. We went up in the studio and made the song "The Raid," and it's just like talking about the day of the raid. And it's a hard ass beat, like it's the old song. It's a trippy listen to our old stuff compared to like, you know, as you evolve. Yeah. But it's a hard ass beat, and Daniel just goes super hard. And it was like our most viral thing by far we did. You know, Sub was starting to talk about us. We started getting more fans online. And then they saw our garden at Subs throughout the year, and then boom, we're rated. This first year, they were Subs showing us online.
So this is before you put anything on YouTube. At this point, it's still just music and growing.
Yeah, Subs only wanted. Anyone's ever seen our garden only from Sub videos. So he came up 3 or 4 times that year.
We had like an old tiny little camera that we had back in the day. We'd take like a few pictures that we have, like, but at the time we weren't really documenting much stuff throughout our beginning things. You know, we were just doing it. And like as like Sub would come up and like TC, he was another photographer that used to roll with Sub. He was taking pictures out in the garden, and that was also like, I want to start taking pictures of our stuff too. Like it'd be cool to start getting shots of these because they do look so good, and they're like out there drooling. You know, like,
it was before phones too. Like, you know, we didn't have we had the flip phone, and we didn't have iPhones right away. You know, we didn't like them in a way also. So like we started getting iPhones because I got a girlfriend that liked iPhones, and she got me into get an iPhone. Then we had a camera on the phone all of a sudden. Before we had a camera, or it's really, really blurry.
Janky style, you know.
Well, no, OGs will tell you, don't take pictures of that.
Exactly.
Don't film that.
Phone,
all the guys I knew, they'd then take the memory card out and then hide that. And they'd be like, even sketch to have that around. I remember because I wish we had, because my buddy used to film everything. And my other buddy who was like an OG was like, you're going to go to jail, and they're going to pull all that up, and they're going to be like,
someone was talking about
3 houses, 4 houses, 5 houses, you know, and he's like, versus they'll all tell you, don't do that. Don't film shit.
Like for getting them printed, you know, at Walmart, someone was talking about that recently. I saw, and it's like, you couldn't do that. Yeah. We had the disposable cameras sometimes, but one time maybe we got them printed, you know, and there was only a couple weed pictures in the roll, and we were super worried about it.
My one buddy wouldn't even let you look at them on your computer. He would have to, you have to look at him in the camera, because he'd be like, once you upload it, who knows who can access this? And so we're like looking at through a camera at old grow photos. He's zooming in. It's like on a screen this big, you know?
And that was 2013, I think it's when we started doing Instagram too. I don't know if Instagram was how long it was out, but I don't think there was many people doing weed at 2013 on Instagram. And that's when Sub was getting us so juiced, and something about Facebook going to shit. We switched to Instagram because everyone was switching to Instagram at that time. And then we started, first thing we were doing was posting weed on Instagram.
And you already had labeled yourself the Mendo Dope Boys.
Yeah, because of music, because we're doing music so tough for those years before that already. So we're already deep in music since 2006 or 7. And then we started growing real weed in 2013 when we got raided, and then growing bigger gardens and stuff.
How'd you learn beats?
Just from like loop programs in the beginning, just putting loops together, and then like seeing how that worked. And then Reek Daddy would make beats too, so I'd watch him on his keyboard make like very simple beats and stuff, but I'd learned that. And then we started going to a studio where we met Mr. Blab, and he would be in there engineering, making beats. So I started looking at his beats, and he would make very intricate crazy beats with so many tracks. We watch him make a beat, and it'll be like, it'll get to a certain sound, and then he'll add another sound, and oh god, the beat changed, and then it's really cool. And then he adds another sound, you're like, oh, this beat's kind of changed again. It's like, and he adds another one, and then he'll break it down at the end, and it's like very complex shit. So I started getting more complex, I guess, like just seeing how people would do that, how you could layer beats and stuff. And then just learning like to do the keyboard style of making beats. I just learned myself, and I took one piano class, like an introduction to piano 1 year with my girlfriend too, because she wanted to do it. And I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I need to do it. I should be doing it every year, but it's like, I feel like I don't have time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so just myself, mostly just taught myself.
You guys collab with Burner yet on a song?
No.
Oh, that's got to happen. I mean, come on.
We talked about it for days. It's weird with Burner. He's so like the opposite of us too. And it's like to do a song with him, and we want to do a specific song, almost talking about a specific concept.
It's
about
funny
that almost, you know what I mean? Because
it's really funny, you know, because there's a division amongst the culture of like how different things, how people do things for one side of it and another side, where like our fan base is like split on like if we did a song with Burner, if they would be too happy. A lot of people,
I've never listened to you.
The weed crowd, the weed crowd is very divided.
We're so like underground weed legacy style, and Burner's legacy too, and you know, but he has the seller style, not the grower style, and it's like such a difference toward the big crowds of people. Where it's like a half and half thing almost, and he gets so much hate now in general because he's so big too, and we totally understand that the bigger you get, the more hate you get too. Yep. So there's a lot of hate that he gets from that too, and just people not liking his weed and stuff. But like our fans are the growers that grow good weed and are care about the people, and are like trying to heal the planet. And Burner's been doing more of that, but in the beginning, I feel like he was all about money and coke so much that we all didn't like him at all for making money on coke and then switching to the weed game, putting that coke money in, how everyone does it, you know, but not real weed people that grow weed from the beginning, that are like in the mountains like us, old people that we grew up learning from, and that we see like growing like with nature, not indoor, and like promoting like medicine and stuff.
Who were some of the OGs around you guys coming up? Anybody that's
no one big. All of them were underground people that never wanted to be big. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Except for Sub. You know, once we met Sub, it was cool because it was the opposite of everyone else wanting to hide, and we were doing music, and we're trying to blow up in music too. So like Sub's got a big following. We love weed hella. He loves weed hella, and it's like he's not scared to be blasting weed and talking about weed like that. And it's like we always meet. It's weird. Like with him, it's like a random older dude, like I think about it sometimes, like we lost our dad so long ago, you know, and we've met these people through our life that are almost father figures in a way, you know, and Sub was kind of like that, trippy. Like, so it was really crazy how like he inspired us a lot, and like what we learned from him, and like under his wing for a while, seeing how he promoted, seeing what he did. Reek Daddy we started with music, but he wasn't good at promotion, and he was like also the worst almost at promotion, because sometimes he talked shit to everyone. He'd be online talking hella shit to his fans, dude. It's crazy shit, and it's like you're totally pissing everyone off. And this world of the internet that's changed throughout you're starting to make music to the world now really cares about social media, and you're a Reek Daddy, the instigator, the gangster of the year, talking shit to people. That's like not helping you, you know what I mean? So, and then Sub was the opposite. Sub was positive and caring about people and helping people and stuff. So he was like a totally different style, older dude that we would hang out with.
And that's like part of the other trippy whole thing about this is like, you know, growing up, like music wise, like we grew up on like a lot of gangster rap, you know, like we listened to a lot of like, you know, Reek Daddy shit, you know, obviously like Eminem stuff, you know, Dr. Dre, Tupac, all this kind of stuff. A lot of like stuff that was close to us that really hit us hard, like Andre Nicotina and Sally Cell and these kind of artists out there. So like we were big on that kind of music. So when I started really diving into like wanting to make more music and doing shit, like I was kind of rapping that style of like hardcore shit. And at the time, like we weren't really so much like you were saying, like I'm not supposed to like so much talk about everything we were doing behind the scenes, especially on the grow side of doing it outlaw style. Like different people would be like, don't, you know, you shouldn't be showing it for sure, talking about it like you're saying. But like gradually as we did the music stuff, we rode with Reek Daddy for years. You know, when we first met him was like 2006 or something like that. And then we put out our first underground album was 2007. It was called NOYB Boys, which Reek's label was NOYB Records. For anyone who doesn't know Reek Daddy, that's NOYB Records was None of Your Business Records. He was like an OG who like raised Mac Dre and like these OGs from the Crest side from Vallejo, California. So when we met up with him, like through weed too, one of our buddies ran into him at a gas station randomly, gave him some weed, and because
we were going to Sac selling weed, and everyone's so picky, you know. We were selling weed to a lot of different people, and he randomly met Reek at a gas station, and gave him some weed.
And Reek was like, gave him posters and and some CDs. So he was like, no fucking way. And he hit us up and he told us, we're like, no way, really? You met Reek Daddy? Because we were listening to Reek. We were fans of Reek before we met him at all. Like, we loved his shit. So we were tripping that he actually, are you sure that was Reek? And he came over with the CDs and the posters, and it was Reek Daddy shit. We're like, no way. And he wanted us to come down with weed. And at the time, like, we were all like, that's fucking sketchy. You know, Reek's such a gangster. We're going to bring weed down there. He's going to fucking jack us.
Yeah,
Thanks for the weed.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what you only expect that. But after a few times of him keep reaching out, like, you guys going to come down with some weed? What's up? And like, my bro and a couple of his friends went down there the first couple times and brought some weed down. And like, he was hella fucking cool.
It was super chill.
Super chill.
First time.
Crazy neighborhood, super hood. It's called Strawberry Manors in Sacramento. It's one way in, one way out set up. And it was the first, like, it looks like a movie, it's the real shit. And there was even one time we were there in task force raided this neighbor and shit. We're in the garage, like, looking at it go down, smoking in his old Cutlass car, whatever car he had. And but he was so cool. Yeah, you get there and you're sketched out because it's hood everywhere. People got to move out of the way when they're playing basketball. There's a cotton candy dude selling popcorn or drugs or whatever. He's faking,
Both.
Some stand.
Yeah, both.
It looked like a movie. And then we get in the house and he would go in the back bedroom where studio is, and he just starts smoking, and he's super cool. It's just crazy chill.
That's awesome.
He really liked the weed right away. It was really crazy how so many people are real picky with outdoor too, they love indoor, and he loved perp for sure too. Well, we had perp also back in the day too when we started to meet him a little bit. So that we probably had some he really liked too, but he was really cool with the outdoor too. Like, he really liked it right away.
And that's you guys' forte.
Yeah, like
for anyone who hasn't seen the videos yet, I mean, it's crazy. You gotta go through some of these videos. Like,
for sure.
Plants, 15 plus feet tall, 10 to 15 feet by 10 to 15 feet, like as big as a car on end and side by side.
Yeah, like car. Yeah, it's like driving through a redwood tree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, people, because you have to give reference because they're used to like a plant.
For sure.
It's like no, and so you guys start to get into these seeds. You get into music. Like, where does it start to go from there after you meet Reek Daddy?
Like, after we met Reek, like, at that time, I was just like freestyling and fucking around with some friends, like writing. I was starting to write music during high school. Like, I started getting into wanting to write music more. But at the beginning, we were just freestyling, fucking around. So we were just rapping, playing, had like a little microphone in the closet style, really janky, old school style, blankets on the wall, recording on the laptop, just starting out, doing stuff. And this was when they were taking their first couple trips up to Reek's. And the whole time I was just thinking in my mind, like, I wonder, like, how cool it would be to make a song with Reek, if that could happen somehow or something. So one of the times he hit him up and I asked him, I was like, yo, Reek, what do you think if we come up and record a song together? And he's like, oh, I didn't know you guys made music. He's like, yeah, come up, let's see what's up. And I was like, oh shit, no fucking way. So this was like the beginning of like, this is crazy. And at the time, like I was saying, like, big fans of Reek, like loved Reek's music, Mac Dre, Doobie, all those guys. So we went up there and like we go in the studio and we're smoking, super chill. And he's like, all right, let's see what you got. And he's like, bust something out. And it's just, sitting there.
You're like,
fucking heart is beating. I'm so
you're like, let me roll another joint real quick. Hold on.
I'm just chilling. Like, oh,
yeah. He's like,
because we used to talk hella shit to him as he was rapping growing up. Like, as he started getting into music,
Lord.
Our friends would talk a lot of shit.
They're SIG artists. They used to talk shit all the time.
So Daniel would go through it for a while, you know what I mean? So like getting into that point was like, oh shit.
We had a tape recorder that we used to rap on. I have like one old school tape that I found actually of like old freestyles, but sometimes him and his friends would come home and they'd find it and they'd play it and listen to it. And then I'd come home and they'd be like, oh, we heard your raps, dude. You fucking think you're fucking...
What jewelry, bud?
Classic, like just talking shit. I'm just like, oh, fuck you guys, whatever, dude. And that was at the time where like a little bit after that, like, I don't know if it was before we went to Reek's that you started making beats.
It was like right after.
Right after. So like we went up to Reek's and yeah, he's like, yeah, bust something out. So I'm just super fucking nervous. I'm fucking tripping like, oh shit. And I just spit something off the top of the brain. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, but I just rapped something. And he was like, oh, okay, y'all like that? Let's fucking record. And he kicked on the beat and he's like, just write a verse. And it was with a couple of our homies. And we just fucking started, recorded a song with him. And fucking after we did the song, we're listening to it and we're about to leave. And he's like, all right, when y'all coming back up to make some more music? And we're like, no fucking way. We're like, if I'm hella down, like we're down for sure.
Because especially we just kind of knew like how money was going with music too, how you pay for features and stuff too. So like we're so new to music. We were just hip to that. So like him even offering to do
to
another
record
song.
songs with him. We're
another
like,
song.
we just
We
got
don't have to pay. Like, I know it's just for fun.
Or be like, yo, yeah, bring me a unit, you know, and we'll do a song.
Bring me 5 pounds. I got you.
Exactly.
Everyone's hustling everyone. Yeah, and he's a hustler too.
And that's what it was so trippy that like at that point right there, like Reek said numerous times too, I always saw something in you from that beginning of you had something in you for sure. There was something going to happen. So we come up there and we're like, all right, let's make some more music. And then I don't know if at the time, like I was just downloading instrumentals offline, trying to find whatever that we would just rap to on the tape, you know? And then Bleezy started all of a sudden thinking about maybe I should start playing with this program and make some beats or something. So he started playing around and actually pulled together a couple beats. I don't know, one of those very first beats that he made, we brought to Reek's the next time, and Reek was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
he's like, you made
like
this,
my first real beat
like,
that I made.
This was even before it was Bleezy.
Not all the way loops almost. I think it was still mostly loops, but like I really mixed it cool, and it was like a raw sound and Taylor Gangster sounding beat, and he liked it so much.
I can remember that song hella, like it's crazy.
Super tight. And he's probably the one that really got me into like the loop thing too, because he had the Acid program. It was like before he had Pro Tools, he had the Acid program. We make beats in there. And it was like a lot of loops and stuff. So I think like before Daniel went there, we would smoke and watch him because he used to make music probably also. We would smoke there and sell some weed with him, get to know him. Then Daniel came in and I'm just like, I don't want to make beats now, dude. I don't want to rap at all. For some reason, I never wanted to rap. I like the music and the sound of music, and I'd pick it apart and I'd understand like the puzzle of music. Like when I listen to it, I can't stop listening to it. You know, I dissect it. I'm like, I was dissecting the beat, and I have to really focus on the lyrics. So I just get into the beat. I try to listen to lyrics, and I slowly get stuck on the beat. Oh shit, I missed a bar. I'm super into the instrumental side of it.
Yeah, the melody. Yeah. And so you guys are still cultivating at this time?
Yeah. So, I mean, still like small at that time. That was before we had, before the raid and everything. It was just
what was your mom saying when you guys were like, yo, we got to come back. We got to move back home. She's like, holy fuck.
She's like, everything okay?
She was, your stepdad too?
Like, no, he had been long. He had been gone for a bit by then.
You guys already ran him out.
Yeah, he had already been
He didn't laugh at you boys.
2006 probably, he was gone, yeah.
But our mom, at that point, once we got up to those grows, before we got raided, our mom started being real supportive of everything we were doing. Like on the music side, even though things weren't even starting to pop or do anything yet, but we were doing it all the time. Like we started really focusing. We would be out. We built a studio in her backyard at that time. Before like we had moved out, before the raid, all that stuff. So she saw us going back there every day. Every day we'd go out there. I'd make a song, 2 songs a day, just random shit, just to do it, just to practice and make songs and keep going and keep writing. I'd come up with random concepts. So she started being super supportive of everything. So once the raid happened, we had to come back. She was like open arms, like, come on back. I got you. As long as you need before you guys can figure out what to do.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was super badass. Our moms had our back from day one. Like, we love our moms.
Especially because you're coming out of such an L. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh man, now what?
It was so hardcore, yeah.
And then to catch more flack is just like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. That she was like that.
Even at that time was when Sub was filming the stuff. So we started getting Sub's fans started to know us, and then when we got raided, they started sending us weed and stuff too, and hash and seeds. I saw you guys lost your vanilla kush seeds. Here's a pack of vanilla.
People sent us money and envelopes and all kind of shit. It was like that was our first time of seeing like how much the cannabis culture and the people all have each other's backs. Like when something happens, like there's always people that reach out to help bring the next person up.
Yeah. So we went to our moms, and we had like weed from homies and weed from people that certain weed people were sending us to, and we're floated through that little transition. But it was so whack. We were so devastated. We had so many plans. Like at that time, we were starting to get our music. Making the Planners of the Tree CD, we're starting to really get our music tighter. We did our own new label. We switched everything up, have our own setup. We're about to have 200 fucking pounds at 1,500
You're like, game on, baby,
like,
Croptober.
Yeah, the dude already liked me from the last year. It was sold already. And it was like, no way, dude. The whole thing gone, all our dreams.
Do you think it was really a call? That they got, or do you think it was a neighbor?
I think it was a neighbor.
Yeah, it's got
at the end of the day, because we were really close to a neighbor who had kids in the backyard, and it was like just fence to fence. Like
she had a bad day, and she was like, "Enough of it. We're getting ready, smelling, and it's right toward. Okay, I'm done."
Yeah. And it looked like way more from her view, because she don't see the individual pot. She's like up looking at the canopy of weed, so it gets bigger over the year.
She's seeing 200 pounds,
bigger and bigger.
And the original thing that they said when they came, they said somebody called and said you guys had 300 plants and guns. guns on the property.
Oh, Lord.
So we were like, what?
We're
And
like,
that
what
made
the
them real serious.
What are they talking about?
And we did have a shotgun there.
We had a shotgun in the house, and the other thing we had was a crossbow. Which we used to shoot targets with the crossbow in the backyard, and that's something that ran through our mind. Are they tripping on that, or what the fuck?
And maybe
that
the
was
neighbor called and said, these guys got hella plants, and they got guns,
they're
because she sees us
shooting
target
guns
practicing
and-
in the backyard with our crossbow.
I don't
You're like, we got to get out to the hills.
We got to switch something.
Yeah.
And at the time, we lost everything, so we're like, well, we can't even go to the hills if we wanted to, unless we wanted to go off grid, something crazy. But we're like, we got to figure out what we're going to do to buckle down and get restarted, and how we want to proceed doing this.
Yeah, even like the next year after that, I think is when we started doing the How to Grow thing on YouTube, where we did it at our grandpa's house, where we talked him to growing 6 plants at his house while we were living at our mom's. Because our mom's already was, we were sketched to grow at our mom's as we're living there, just got raided. Even though when we got raided, they didn't give us a ticket. You know, they walked off. Nothing.
Didn't take you guys to jail?
No jail, no paperwork.
What?
And when they searched the house, they went up to the studio where the shotgun was. We walked in the studio, he's searching the house, and I see the shotgun's wide open, sitting on the bed, just on, like, open, just chilling. So I try to put a blanket over it when he's in the closet looking, and he looks over, what are you doing? And he opens the blanket. What the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, are you stupid? You walking towards the gun or trying to hide the gun or whatever. So I was like, oh, we're fucked, you know. And then they just walked away and left us there. Left the shotgun
there too. They just took our money, all the weed, all the fresh weed they chopped up. We had weed and toast, and we had
one little sack and some seeds and a little cubby that we had, like a
little chest,
They're like, good luck next year. Hopefully you got some more money together.
Yeah, they're like,
see you next
we
year.
left you a little bit of something.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, just our extra pot. We left you a little something in there still.
But then we're living at our mom's house, and like months later, like 6 months later, we get a thing in the mail or a call. They just left a message on the phone saying, you have a meeting with the district attorney. You could do it. And it's a voluntary meeting. You don't have to do it, or you could do it, or we're going to start looking into the case or pressing charges or some shit. And we were like, oh, should we just ignore it? And then someone said, no, you should go do it and do the meeting and see what they're saying and bring a lawyer. So we got Ken Estes, Granddaddy Perp. He was homies with another dude we were rapping with, DJ Ignite. So he has already been fucked with by cops for days. He's been in the game forever. So he was like, oh yeah, I got a lawyer. He told us which lawyer to use. So we got his lawyer and then went in there and listened to the meeting. And we actually recorded the whole meeting. We have a little sample. We've done a couple samples from the meeting, but also like, I don't know how legal it is, but we recorded like 30-minute meeting or some shit and just listened to it. And then he says like, we also had to we got a couple clubs to say we were bringing weed to clubs. So we had like proof that weed was going to a club, because we were selling to clubs for the beginning of time too, way before that garden. Like from weed we were trimming, we'd get all the shake and then we'd make keef and then sell the keef to the club, or get all the budlets and sell budlets.
There's like clubs. A paper saying that we donated it to the club or something, you know?
Yeah. So like to go in the meeting, we came in with that. They talk about it. They say, okay, well, if you guys don't want to, we'll dismiss the case, no charges if you just forfeit everything, you know, or not talk about it, like drop it or whatever. And we're like, yeah, we'll just drop it then.
Yeah, at the time, because we're like, well, we don't even have no money left or anything to fucking start this battle if we wanted to go down that route to try to fight it and see if we can win it.
It was 25 plants, so there's like maybe
we're like, there's a chance we could do something, yeah, or we just go at it and waste more money and they just fuck us over.
And then they're really
and they dig into shit
because we're such a small town. They'll know us forever if we really. A year or two of fighting a case, and that time of we
especially if you win,
make more heat on us.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Yeah. Then you got a mark on your back.
Yeah. So, you're like, gotcha. And they're like, uh-huh.
So at the time, after that, we're just kind of like, let's just kind of just try to be just in this, you know, and just get it behind us and move on and know that we're clear of that and they're not coming after us or whatever. And then that's when we started, when we went back to growing, it was just 6 plants and we're like, yeah, let's start filming everything and let's show people.
How do you talk them into that? Like, hey, we're going to film this now. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I don't know.
He never had a problem or tripped it or ever said anything about like, what are you doing with the camera?
Because we were so talking about sub, he saw the MSNBC things through high school, you know, too. So then by 2013, I graduated high school in 2004, you know, so 2013, he had this indoor room already and stuff. And he's see us working with sub and talking about sub all the time and showing him videos all the time. So he probably was just like, it's normal now. I guess.
Yeah. Was it so new where he was like, what the hell are you doing out here?
Yeah, he was kind of somehow didn't care as much as he did. Now that you say that, he should have cared more. I feel like he would have cared, but
you just got raided and you're filming the new grow. I'd be like, oh god,
that's that NorCal life, bro.
Yeah, because he was always cool. Gramps was desensitized. Like our mom was really squarish, you know, and really just like normal person, you know. Our grandpa was working on engines for fucking drug dealers and growers for days. You know?
Probably hyped up by it, honestly.
Yeah, it was. He was super. And our grandma
gets excited. He's like, hopefully they blow up.
Yeah, he's like, dude, like mom, we used to grow little plants in San Francisco on the windowsill. And,
our grandma loved it.
It's different for NorCal people. It's like the weed shits. They're just like, yeah, it's kids being kids.
It's just normal.
We support them
so much.
We support them. So,
or they have a friend whose husband does it and he's chill. So they're like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, he's always been super chill. Even like yesterday doing donuts with him. It was so cool. We go burn some blunts and then we go do some donuts around Brentwood, like fucking looking for a place to do donuts. Took forever to find a place to do donuts too, because Brentwood's like really residential, and like you try to do one in an intersection, you got a lot of straight shots the cop could see you from days away. So we had to find an industrial park where we went and swung it.
We laid it down.
He's super cool, dude. Our grandpa's super cool.
And so that video you guys filmed, that goes up on YouTube. Like, how does that connection make you film it and then you decide to put it up, or?
Yeah, just like Sub would do. Yeah, we just did the video of our outdoor real documentary and put it up on YouTube, and then it got really big too. Like I don't know what it has now, but over all these years, it's got so many views. We did like a 3 or 4 parter, and then did the second year of film, and we just started filming forever after that, really.
And like the couple times when we were doing like those videos with Sub, like before the raid happened, and he was taking those first couple trips up to the garden, and it was like our first introduction into like talking to people on the camera in the grow. So like people we would start seeing from his videos, like a lot of people chiming in, asking us questions or what's going on.
Mad questions,
because Sub was hyping up too, because Sub was blown away. He was coming over like, look at what they're doing with my genetics.
I can't believe the crazy train can do this.
Shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he was so excited, and you know, he had energy. He was a character. So he was hyping it up, and all the weed nerds were getting super excited about it. So they started hitting us up and asking us like all these kind of questions, or what we're doing or how we're doing it, because Sub was teaching them indoor stuff. So that's when it was kind of like the open door of like, let's start giving them this content and take them behind the scenes on our side and show them what we're doing.
Yeah, we probably answered like 600,000 questions on Instagram and social media or whatever. Like so many messages, and we try to respond to a lot of people, and it gets over it. Now it's really hard over the year, like last couple of years, even though our Instagram got shut down and we're back up and whatever. But so many questions, and it's like, Jesus criminy, it's out of control.
We love it though.
Just how many people are just so into it and like wondering how we do it and stuff. So it's fun to be doing it.
Well, because for anywhere else in almost the world, your style is so unique. You're like, whoa, there's not many places where people can do that.
For sure.
That's why indoor is so big, is because people can hide it. But when you see that, you're like, oh shit, this is like half a field, and these things, and you got rows, but then you also got single plants, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you have
very uniform,
very cool.
circular. People can see. And we learned that from the first dude we were trimming from. He had those circle giant, 10-pounder style plants. And so I was just like, what we started seeing. We didn't even really see small plants except for people's residential backyard 5-gallon pots. And when we started doing that, tomato patch was pretty big compared to what we've ever seen almost. And then besides that dude stuff, and that was right around when we were trimming for that dude. So like, that's the first plants we started. Like, that's what we thought plants were. You know what I mean? That's how we thought everyone's plants was supposed to be.
The size of a house.
You're not doing it right.
Big plants.
Like that.
And so then you start to tie in the music to the videos?
Yeah, like through the time, like to run it back with Reek, like when we started meeting with Reek, Bleez brings beats down. Reek's like, this is fucking sick, like we start vibing and start creating shit together. And he's like, y'all are the NOYB boys, you're riding with me and everything, and you blah blah blah.
You're my white boys.
Yeah, my white. He's like, y'all my white boys. Y'all got the fucking
we're
weed.
the only white boys out.
Yeah,
There's only one other white dude every once in a while, Mr. Squirrels, that would be hanging out over there.
Yeah, numerous shows and stuff and places we'd go with Reek. We'd have people like eyeing us out, like, who the fuck are these guys?
All the time.
But all the OGs and Reek and everyone would be like, don't fuck with my white boys over here. My crew right here, they're with me.
And as soon as we
what's up, man? What's up, y'all?
Close circle, and they started smoking our weed. There's never a problem. There's never a time where we felt sketched at all.
Yeah, we were always
Reek was sketchy. The environment was sketched and the vibe was sketched, but not anyone pushing us around or Jake taking our wall, whatever the fuck people did.
Yeah.
Never got like scared, like no one ever did that kind of shit.
Yeah, Reek had
our back.
Reek had our back hardcore.
And he was so respected because he was OG. Like Mac Dre looked up to Reek. Like if Mac Dre was around and talked about Reek, he'd have so many cool stories.
Yeah.
Like Reek and him did crazy shit. Like all the gangster shit they would do. Like Reek showed him Mac Dre a lot of that shit.
Had Mac Dre already passed by the time you guys started working with Reek?
Yeah.
He passed in like 2004, I think, when I was a senior. So like We met Rick Chills.
It was like a couple years after that when we met Reek.
Sucks
Yeah.
Wow, so he's fresh
We were
out of
big
that.
fans of Mac Dre.
Yeah.
Like he was like
everyone,
he was one of
like
the
in
top
high
for
school
us.
when I was a senior and he died. Everyone's like, oh, Bleezy, or Brian, or Brian Mac Dre. I was the one that like
Mac
shared
Dre t-shirt
to everyone.
and all
I
that.
had I was super Mac Dre out. So like we started renting Reek. That's why we love Reek so much too, because he was in the whole Crestside circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then meeting him was like, man, we were just like barely missed meeting Mac Dre
Yeah.
and doing songs with him and even seeing him live at concerts or anything. We barely missed the whole Mac Dre thing just seeing, listening to his music, never in person.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it go from after you move back in with your mom and stuff? Where'd you guys go from there? Did you guys go and get another spot, or like how long was that period? And then when'd you guys get back on your feet with the grow shit?
We were there, we did the garden at our grandpa's house where we started filming. So we had that 6 plants and then trimming a bunch. So we started stacking our money back up again. 6 plants wasn't much, but that harvest, starts to get the ball rolling. And I think
The next year, like that next season, like we did that season, we stayed at our mom's through that season. We grew up patch at our grandpa's house, did all that work. And then the next year we actually ended up moving in with our gramps to help him like keep the property that he was at. Because at the time things started, like it was starting to get hard to keep up with bills and keep the property, and we definitely didn't want to see it get lost and everything. So we were already like, fuck, let's just move in with Gramps and we'll fucking hold it down together and keep this spot and grow a patch together. And from there, we just it was like that next year where we got out of our moms, went there, a little collab grow with our Gramps and kept filming and kept gradually building it up until that next year. I think the following year after that, we extended and we cleaned a bunch of the backyard at our grandpa's house because he had a bunch of shit back there, cars and trash and this piles of metal and all this stuff. So when we moved in, we started cleaning up a bunch of stuff. And we're like, man, we can think of a patch out in this spot, like filling up like
so we were doing the first 6 were in his vegetable garden where he grew forever, and the back was just chaos
but full sun, just dirt,
full sun. And we look at it like, man, that one day we're like, we should grow there, and talk to him into cleaning that out and growing there. And then we did that was like 2 years of the 6 plants, trying to be chill, filming a lot, and then got comfortable again. And we're like, okay, let's do 18 plants. We'll just do, instead of doubling, let's triple one time.
Right, maybe not 25 just in case, but let's go hard. And that's when,
not 25. Still.
And that was after a couple years of filming the How to Grow videos. And then so many people were showing so much interest in it and a lot of people just kept saying, why don't you guys make a DVD? Make a DVD, like a How to Grow thing.
Instead of on YouTube all the time, we should make it available for us and stuff.
Yeah, maybe we should. Like, that'd be pretty cool to do that. And that's when we moved the garden to the back spot bigger. And then we filmed the first How to Grow DVD. And just like, instead of doing it YouTube style, we're just like filmed through the season, documented it all, cataloged it, and started like,
make it pro or
make it like more of a real, How to Grow DVD style.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I forget how many hours it was when it
that
first
one was a lot. Oh my god,
like 40
we filmed so
hours
much
of footage or something to get down to whatever it ended up being. It was like so much work and editing.
Who's editing everything? You?
Mostly me. Yeah, Daniel
both of
does it
us.
too. We both do it, but I do it a little bit more. We almost even now though. We both do.
He started. He was editing all the time at the beginning, and I gradually started watching him, and I was like, I kind of want to play around with it too and see what I can do. And then gradually started learning it, and then I was like, oh, I'll start editing.
We picked up video. I picked up video editing fast because the music, because working in Pro Tools and stuff. The
Goes hand in hand.
super
Layering
similar,
and all that.
the same puzzle piece. Yeah, just an open puzzle to move things around in.
And at this time, are you infusing your music into the videos yet, or no? With this DVD?
Yeah, in the YouTube we started,
and even in
Okay.
YouTube. Like, I
So
guess,
are you filming it, then writing the music, or are you taking the music and being like, this would fit dope with this scene?
Yeah, we're already like had music that was already done that we were wanting, that we were like, oh, we should use this here, and like that was like
after we got rated 2 is where we started doing more weed music also. So
that's what I was gonna get to with I was getting in with Reek, starting the thing. And gangster rap at the beginning, rapping with Reek in the studio was like, you gotta go hard.
You have to kill
gotta
someone
have
every
the
song.
fucking-
Every song someone had.
Who's
died.
got the
There's
hardest?
a dead body in a shopping cart, or there's a dude with a bat that got hit with a bat, or there's a built-in bathroom on your hip, or there's something. Reek would say the gangster shit.
Reek would never even, and he would never like tell us what he's doing either. He'd be over there mobbing, just
Sneaky
writing, and we're like,
no concept.
like, we're like, what are we writing about? He's like, just fucking go hard, fucking write some shit.
Go hard, bro. And you're like, oh, fuck.
And he's like, I'm the youngest one here. I'm the only white dude. Everyone's gangster rapping. That's what I listened to.
I guess I should, I rap this type kind of shit and throw some stuff. But I'd always throw little things of weed in the mix, smoking and whatever. But at the time, it wasn't gross shit. So after a bit, we started really noticing like a couple songs that we were doing, getting more attention on like and especially with sub stuff, doing those the TGA song and these different things, like started making us like, damn, the weed music is definitely more our lane, and like even
true to you.
Exactly. And even
connected with your people.
Yeah. After working with Reek all those years and doing this stuff, and we collabed with hella different artists that we looked up to and wanted to work with, all the people from that area. And Reek was like, he's like, y'all got to get out and do something different. He's like, y'all have worked with all of us, all the people and all this shit, but y'all got to like go out and get new fans to introduce to our shit or whatever. And like at the time it was weird for us because it almost felt a little bit of a way of like, what do you mean? Like I'm trying to rap with you guys and do all this stuff, but it was hell of a mind opener of like, yeah, maybe we should be going out and doing something different and like even more our style shit. And like, we started going like, really, it was like at that time, it was like, we should go full out what we're really doing out here in the hills. Why are we hiding it and just talking about smoking? Let's talk the grow side of it. Let's get real fucking cannabis culture music on them and start going hard. And that's like when the first Planters of the Trees album, we went full, and we started working with reggae artists too. That we loved reggae music and gangster rap, and our mom listened to country music. So like, and we would go out to like Reggae on the River Festival and watch these artists, and big fans of Damien and Sizzla and these guys. So we wanted to start working with reggae artists, and we felt like the vibe of what they were doing was all positive. They loved ganja. It was like, man, we should be able to mash up and vibe. And we hella did with all the people that we worked with. It instantly, we're like, damn, this was hella fun. It's like super what we do. We're just really laying out our fucking lifestyle on this shit and giving them really full out cannabis culture music and working with totally new people from what we were doing. We're working with Reek Daddy.
Because Reek never worked with no real reggae people or not, but he liked reggae a lot too.
They liked reggae.
Like reggae. Mac Mall's song "Illegal Business." You know Mac Mall's "Illegal Business."
My opinion.
Oh, my opinion.
My opinion.
Well, Mac Mall's a big artist from Bay Area, and he's had some big songs, and he's got a song called "My Opinion," which we've listened to, and it's one of his biggest songs.
One of our favorite songs when we were kids.
You should listen to it after this.
My name is Young Mac Mall Main, and this is my opinion. It's a huge, big hit.
And after all the years, after we started doing reggae music, he told us, because we know him too, and he told us that that's a Pato remix, which is a reggae artist that we did a song with. And he's like, "Oh, you did a song with Pato? My Opinion, that's from Pato's My Opinion song from the 80s or something."
We used to listen to Pato all the time, and they're all talking about it. We're like, that's such a trip. I never imagined like Reek and these gangsters jamming to some reggae music, but they were hella into that shit too. But we didn't even know at the time, but as gradually we started doing this other stuff, and that's when it started to change on like music started to really get to like, it was a noticeable difference.
Because what you're talking about too is so in depth that most other people can't talk that talk.
Exactly.
They don't know what, like, it's like, oh shit, he's really talking about weed
for
shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Moving, bringing down 100 pounds, 200 pounds in the back. What really happens to it after the fact?
How do they grow these 100 pounds?
Yeah. And so it's almost a lesson in like, be yourself.
Exactly.
Because even from the beginning, if you were spitting that, he probably would have been like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yep. Yeah. And even the first CD we dropped could have even, been way crazier.
Yeah. Because he loved the weed shit, and that's what brought us together in the first place. And like, I would just sprinkle weed stuff in there, but I would be hesitant to talk about what we were doing for real until we're like, fuck it.
New, but
you can tell he's a real one too for telling you guys, hey, you need to go out and explore more what you're doing, and then bring it back over here.
Exactly.
Because
connect a
you ain't
bigger
gonna
circle.
get it out here the same way we do. We're not from out there, and you're not from out here, and that's a good OG right there. Somebody to like give you the real and help you like that, to let you see it in a way without feeling like some ulterior motives or nothing like that. Just
and
keeping it honest.
Making those songs, we're showing him the songs. We go to the studio. When we go to the studio with Reek, we went for hundreds of studio sessions. We drive to SAC. We leave Mendo at like 4 a.m, smoke like 6 blunts on the way to SAC, get to SAC 7 a.m, just listen to his music and smoke with him. He played like 5-6 songs of his new shit he made. And then we show him our songs or whatever, and then we make a new song all the time. So every time in between, we show him our stuff too and listen to his new stuff. And we got, he's on every CD when he was alive. Even after he died, we had him on every CD for quite a few years. So he was like super cool with it. Yeah. And it did a lot. Like, it was noticeably, it's still our best CD, the Planters of the Trees original CD. It's like that whole CD was like the first real. There's other rappers in Humboldt, like Garth Cultivator and Underrated and Potluck, and these dudes, they've been rapping about weed, growing it. Cypress Hill, a little bit, but like in a catchier way, not as a detailed weed nerd kind of way. almost.
Yeah, not so like that's another thing I was gonna say, because we were big on, Cypress Hill growing up, Be Real, Cottonmouth Kings, Snoop Dogg, all these guys that were everyone who was repping weed, we were fucking listening because we're like, fuck yeah, we're fucking smoking out over here. These guys are sick, dude. And as we got into weed music, we're like, wow, how can we do something different than like the Cypress Hills and the Cottonmouth guys and these guys that have been doing weed music for, back in the day before we started making music, when we were just listening to them. That's why we're like, no one is like really going super deep on the grow side and the farmer side of like, and even speaking for the patients, like literally trying to just like educate people through music and not just talk about partying with weed and smoking out. I'm like, oh, I got the fire, or I'm making hella money.
It's always smoking, or it's either smoking weed or making money on weed is the only thing.
It's like there's this culture is huge. There's so much parts to this game, to this plant that we need to represent and talk about and show people. So it's like in our music, we started seeing how much of I started to notice how much of a voice I had when things started to change, and when Sub put music online, and I started realizing like I definitely got to pay attention to what I'm saying these days from back in the day when I used to rap about crazy shit and I would just let it fly.
Yeah, because one line all of a sudden would be noticeable too as he started transitioning. It'd be like one
gangster line out of the mix. It's like, why is that even in there anymore? I don't know why I did that.
It was pretty interesting.
I started to learn. That was my writing process of learning how to write songs, of just like doing it myself and just getting into the zone of finding my shit. And then just, it's so trippy how it evolved into what it is now, of like where it started, and then starting to get so deep into like seeing the impact it was for like how much it was helping people, like not only teaching them like grow stuff in the music, but just the music in general, of like the positive side of it and what we were doing with weed. It was helping hella people, and it was so inspirational for us to get in the studio and go even harder and deeper and tell people that like, let's give them like let's give them the rest that they haven't seen, let's open up the next chapter in the cannabis culture side. And like, so like big props to these guys who like influenced us, the Cypress Hill and these guys, because they sparked it in our mind and we loved it because it was what we were doing. And then we're like, let's take it to this next level, let's branch off into the next section of it. So
that's cool that you saw the niche where you were like, all right, they have this covered. Where do we fit in? What's our niche?
How can we stand out different than just making another? Or you can't even, it's like you can't repeat stuff that certain people have done anyways. You could try like Dr. Green Thumb and these songs. They're fucking classic hits. They're super dope, and they are what they are. Like, so we're like how can we be different? How can we do it different? Well, what we're doing different.
Stay true to your people, where you're from, what you've experienced, and be able to tell it, in the raw format, where people can relate.
Yeah.
And, or be curious enough to be like, whoa, what's all that? Like, what are they talking about?
That's what's interesting now. Like you're saying, it's always been really, since he started doing way more weed raps and getting really deep, it's not like we've ever been like super famous or popped like a viral song or whatever, or like have a radio hit or something. And it's just so deep, it's super weed nerd, like so weed nerded out once we got really tight with Sub and really knowing weed and reading all the books and all the books, you know what I mean? Like Grow Bibles and all the stuff, and the Dank 2.0, all the Buds ones. Yeah. Like we're so into it.
Well, and then we got this, like, explain this.
That's part 2 of the How to Grow DVD.
Yeah.
It's like we did the first one, and then a couple years later, we've like started doing no-till and doing like real organic. Like we started liking organic, but then we started really growing organic after the first DVD.
And what do you think of no-till?
I love it.
Yeah, I think I
love no-till. I think the world needs to be on no-till.
Yeah, like
commercial agriculture needs to change.
There was
no-till.
The Kiss the Ground documentary. It's on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it before.
I have not yet.
Woody Harrelson is a narrator for it. It's super cool because he's cool listening to in general.
Super good documentary,
and super good about farming and no-till and stuff, and
what the impact that modern agriculture is having on the fucking planet. How much
it's like
soil, how much topsoil around the planet is getting disturbed and opened up and dried out and disappearing. They go deep into it.
And then monocropping versus having crops that basically benefit each other and cycling through. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So like once we had a homie that we met through music bringing us out to a concert, Minnesota Nice is like
shout out
AKA.
to our boy Minnesota Nice.
He was had an indoor room he showed us because he's one of the weed nerd fans. We started meeting weed nerd fans all around the world. So now there's anywhere we go, there's like. And now as it's gotten bigger, it's, past weed nerds, it's just everyone is, and that's what they also like, that's what I was gonna say earlier. It's like, they're so deep into weed stuff that now people are catching up to it, Now it's crazy because we were so deep in the weed game and now everyone's pretty much like really gamed up. So now our music's getting more popular in a way, and it's just finding its timing now almost. Like
you were a bit ahead of your time.
Yeah,
not as many people had the opportunity.
And as we talk to people out of our area and out of California, people out of California especially are way behind. California's like our homie Mr. Bond in the East Coast in
Rhode Island.
He said like we're like 15 years behind what California does. Like whatever you guys are doing, like don't think like it's already been played out. It's like no one has that stuff yet. Like everyone's way behind.
It's the same with strains. People here will be like, I'm tired of that already. And I'll tell people, like, even in Colorado and stuff, I'm like, yeah, they were growing the RS11 or whatever. And they're like, what? The RS11? And I'm like, you haven't heard of that yet? I'm like, the wave already came, was huge, and then crashed. Like, what? There's such a disconnect
so
sometimes.
Like, the Weed Nerd Nation is huge all worldwide. And we started realizing that so many people all around the places. So he brought us out to a concert, and he showed us an indoor room where he had no-till style indoors, and he had a straw on the top and cover crop growing. He had worms all wiggling. The first time we ever seen any bugs in an indoor room that were beneficial. It was like, no way, dude.
Or that we knew that they were there for a reason. You know,
they had a purpose. They weren't like kill it all.
Yeah, like this is what you want. Like this is your style. It was so cool, and his weed was the best weed we smoked out of state. Like his indoor is so clean, so fucking clean.
Yeah,
he uses everything so clean. It's crazy.
Yeah, at that time, like when we were, doing those how to grow videos online, then as we started to travel more into events and shows, like we started filming like on the road footage, kind of like Tales of a Doper, we were calling it. For a while, we had this thing going, so we would show all this behind the scenes footage. And one of the times we were going out to Minnesota for a show, we were filming already for that stuff, and we were talking to our homie Minnesota Nice, and we're like, man, what if we did a no-till video and you could break it down for people? Because we were blown away. He was telling us this and we hadn't known nothing about this yet or dove into it. Or none of the homies that we knew, no one was doing no-till out where we're at. It was all the same style that we've been doing.
Yeah, there was like old school dudes kind of doing it, but they were still like not, there's still lots of pots. There's some people doing it in the ground here and there, but not like,
not taking it to that next level of really like diving into the science of the soil and like making it like true living soil. So like he was blowing our mind with this shit. We're like, man, people would trip on hearing this, like, because we're about to fucking try this at home. We're about to transition.
He's like, I can't. He was so scared of going to the grocery store too. Is also probably why he dove into it. He would get all his food from the grocery store, like for the plants.
Yeah,
so
all his nutrients.
Popcorn seed starts. You get alfalfa, start the seed starts. Give him those for enzymes. You get everything like that you would eat. If you put it in your body and it's good for your stomach, that's why I want to get my plant stuff that I would want to eat, and it's good for my body in general. And it's like, geez, it was crazy to hear, like how
it makes sense.
Deep you can go. Because we're already weed nerds. Then he took it the next step. And then we realized after trying it, this is like, makes it easier. The first time getting it going is a little difficult or whatever, but then it gets way easy. And now, like I'm saying, like the gardens are like grow themselves pretty much. Like with the outdoor garden in Mendo, the way the climate is, and having them in the ground with the cover crop and with the dry amendment feeding and little bits of teas, they just grow. Like super, super easily.
What would you say the number one lesson is for people wanting to get into no-till? Is there one like...
I think it's just like, don't give up in the beginning. Like when you first start, it's like people give up and they think it's hard because it's like building your soil differently, more water in the beginning, keep your top more moist. People are always scared to keep their plants moist a lot. We used to always like let them water for 60 gallons on those big plants. So we'd water 60 gallons a day on our plants too, for each plant. So we'd be out there in the morning, we didn't have no fast pump too. So at that time when we got rated, that's how we always did, like a pickle barrels, 50-gallon barrels, those red ones with a submersible pump, make the nutrient mix in there and just hand water and then put nutrient water over the top of that until we started doing this no-till stuff. And it's just like so much water and stuff. So then we'd let them dry out for 3 days till they get bone dry. And that was like the technique we always thought was the business. But no-till is totally opposite of that. So it's weird for people to get used to keeping it moist. Well, you can't just keep it moist if there's no cover crop, because then it will have problems. So you need the straw and the cover crop, and the worms help the cover crop work, and it helps the soil move and break down.
The whole circle of the breakdown and the recycle and the back again and green and brown and down.
You have to have the little circle, but it's easy. The cover crop, a little straw, and then some bugs, some worms.
And like for people wanting to get into no-till, like for us too, at the very beginning when Minnesota Nice was breaking it down, it was like a little overwhelming at the beginin.
He's a scientist.
Because we're like, holy fucking shit, dude, this is like crazy sounding. Like he's going so scientific, going down to the detail of all the big words and all the crazy shit that goes past our knowledge, So we're like, I don't know. We're skeptical at first, but he was telling us like, man, if I was out where you guys were, you don't understand how nice it would be to do this style out where you're at. He's like, it would be so nice. He's like, I'll even come out there and help you guys kind of start it and show you the beginning process and then we can go from there.
Yeah, because before that too, like in all the years growing, learning from people, a lot of people would grow in pots. Like say like it used to be 65 gallons and slowly moved up to 200s and 300, 400 gallon pots or whatever. Every year they would till that or take the soil out of the pot, mix it with new shit and put it back in the fucking pot.
Or even get rid of all the soil and start with fresh new soil.
Yeah,
all
even
new
that
soil.
even, start new every year. Empty all that garden out.
And you're like, it's only getting better if you just do a couple
if you
things
took
to
care
it.
of it, and you just help that cycle.
So much extra work.
And you don't let it dry out because then the microbes die.
Exactly.
So it's like once things dry out, they die.
Yeah.
So you got to
start
keep
over
it.
again,
It's that balance.
Yeah, there's a balance to it.
The plants can be so happy when the balance is right. Yeah, and they'll notice it if it's not.
It could be. It's sometimes it seems a little like like hard at times or a little overwhelming, but it's really not. Like if you start to just step by step look at it and lay it out and just think about it, and then once you start to get in that routine and see it happen, and it becomes like, wow, this is really a lot of common sense things, or you just think like, yeah, I should probably do that, or
a lot of common
course it would need this.
He always said that you're trying to grow like the redwood forest floor grows redwood trees. Like, he's like, you guys are from where the redwood trees are. What do they do? What's on the
what
ground?
are they doing out there in the redwood
Who feeds
forest?
them nutrients?
Who does anything?
Decomposition.
Who's out there cleaning stuff? Who's in, like
all
a
the
lot
stuff
of the
that breaks
stuff is a
down, they
natural,
clean it up, and get rid of it. They slowly break. Everything has a purpose. Like,
it's a natural breakdown. It's a really true to.
It made so much sense to us. It was like, wow, it's crazy. And then after years of doing it, it's like a no-brainer now, like major no-brainer.
But it was probably that first season where you're like, all right, we're going to go no-till now.
Yeah.
From bottled newts and stuff to like, here we go. It's because now you already have caught this rhythm of like, we know what we can do with newts. Now we're about to go back to square one.
Yeah.
And relearn this all over again somewhat.
And also throughout the years of learning, the plants just grew big too. Like I feel like there's so many things we did in the beginning, like, oh, it made it do this, but it's like, no, like, oh, it's week 4. Look at the nutrients I did at week 2 is really working. It's like, no, week 4 is just week 4. It's bigger now because it's 2 weeks further. It's not like it's like the nutrients did that. The plant pretty much did that. You know what I mean? And I used to think like everything I do is such a big purpose to do it. And slowly we backed down and backed down. And it always had the same results. It's like the same results with way less every year.
Yeah, instead of trying to like pump things up like we used to, or people do with nutrients, pump up to get bigger, we started to learn a lot more of like genetic side of it's like the genetics is the part that's going to really give you a big plant or a really thriving kind of thing, like it comes down to that. But the feeding spot, like just doing it that natural style with everything the same, like they have the potential to grow massive. We learned that ourselves and then showed people going from our old style of growing big plants to what we do over the last, years of growing the same or even bigger plants, doing it all no-till style.
And like, when Sub started filming, people were just blown away, on like how big the pots were and stuff. And they just like, they never could get a plant that big. Even people around us, I never get a plant that. It's like they didn't think like you just need a bigger pot. Like your root bound is if you get a 200 gallon pot, now look at what happens. Like then let's try a 400. And then slowly we went to thousands. I mean, we met Soil King. Yeah. So we started doing the videos. Subcool's repping us. Soil King makes soil by the fucking yard, like dump trucks, truckloads of soil. So we needed soil all the time. So he hooked us up with him. And then he's like, oh, you guys are going 400 gallon pots. And we say, yeah, we got a couple 600 smart pots make 600s now. What about 1,000? I can get smart pots to make a custom 1,000, or they make thousands too. And we're like, we don't have money for that soil. He's like, I got you. We'll sponsor the soil.
I'll fill it up. And you guys, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Hell yeah.
So it went all the way to thousands before we went in the ground. And in thousands, you're almost in the ground, but
You're in the
still
ground
not
pretty-
quite.
yeah.
Not all the
Not
way
quite,
the same.
but as close as you can get.
Which gives you what? Does it give you benefits not being in the ground when you can control it a little bit better, or what?
I feel like over time now, the only benefit is it's not really a benefit.
It's
like
not a benefit
maybe
unless
for
it, like,
rats
depending on where
or-
you're at, like your ground.
Yeah, if you're on
depending on your.
But now you're treating
underlayer.
that whole area as if that's the bed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even like at our grandpa's house that we took over, when we did that first year at the bigger spot, we did all those pots in that's when we did the thousands even. And over the years, we've took pots out and did our new style. And that ground's really hard back there. And we always thought like through the years, there's no way you could grow in this ground,
And it was like tainted, like as we cleaned it up and things, like
oil,
engine parts. You know, every time we would dig somewhere, there was bolts coming out or some car piece or something. So we were like skeptical. Like, I don't know,
pull a body out of there. You're like, oh shit, Grandpa was crazy, bro.
I remember as a kid, there was like a hole back there that was like 20 feet deep where we would if you fall in there, you're dead.
Like old school style, just filling, dump shit into a hole and burying it.
Yeah.
So like we were skeptical. Like, I don't know if we want to grow in the ground out here. It seems a little weird.
Yeah, like it's not going to work.
So that's why. And then we were like had the hookup with Smart Pots and Soil King, where we started to work with them, and it made it easy to be like, oh well, we could get a hookup on all this stuff and kind of be able to do it, and let's see how it goes. And
you guys crushed it with Soil King.
Yeah, the Soil King soil just works super freaking good. It's like it makes our job way easier because like you say indoor, especially when we plant a plant from clone, we put it in the Soil King. You only have to feed veg once, and then you go to bloom, and we do like 3 bloom feedings or 4 bloom feedings, and it's like the soil comes ready to go for the veg super hard. Like 1 feeding of veg almost is all you need. Damn. Depending on how big your plants are getting, but for small regular inside.
What would be a few key things for people trying to grow outdoor? Because outdoor is so different than indoor.
Yeah. Outdoor is so, like all the years, every climate's so different. It's so hard to suggest things for, even in Mendo, there's so many microclimates. Like where our garden at to where our grandpa's house where he lives is like totally different.
So learn your microclimate.
Learn that it's kind of test seed starts out. Yeah. Learn the ones that work good and find out. I don't think everyone has to go to the hype. I think it moves too fast anyways, like you're saying too. Your RS11's fire. I only smoked it twice. Everyone hates it already.
I know, yeah. We don't see it that much.
We grew Oreos this year only because we don't want to grow any runts or cookie strains or seed junkie stuff. We don't want to promote that. It's promoted enough. Yeah, plenty of people growing your shit.
Try to do something different.
Fire things out there that can be found.
But we wanted to still try the hype, so we tried Oreos, and everyone acted like they hated it, or like online. Oh, Oreos has been done. It's super non-terpy, this and this, and it's our first like hype strain we grew in days, and it came out super fire. It's here. It's looks like indoor. It's from our last run in the greenhouse.
Yeah,
I only fed it once. It's crazy pretty, and it's like it's fire weed. You know, it's like. But everyone hates it already. So it's you can grow your own shit.
Just like you say, microclimate. California is a microclimate for genetics, where everyone immediately gets a hold of cuts, right? They run it out as fast as they can, and then they're like, what's next?
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, it went from having a strain for a few years to a year, then it went down to like a run or two, and then we want something new.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it takes 3 runs to dial something in to where you know exactly what this genetic needs. There's a disconnect with education, and that's what's cool about you guys' music, because the education of like how hard it is to grow, how long it takes, what it takes to put a genetic in the ground, how every genetic comes out different, like, there's a disconnect with education. So people know like, if someone's putting out 60 strains a year, most likely those are actually only like 15 real strains, and they're getting renamed and shit because it's you can't keep up.
Yeah, you can't keep up at all. And throughout all these years, we grew Sub stuff for years. Once we got cool with Sub, he had new strains he's making every month. So our outdoor would be new stuff from Sub all the time.
Let's take a look.
And we never had a problem selling it. It's always was different shit that had different names. That Sub just dropped. No one knows about it yet. It comes out dank and has no problem. And now people are a lot pickier. And the legal market, I feel like the underground market's super picky. The legal market gives you more leeway to sell cool strains. People in the clubs are more open to buying a new strain from a farmer that they like. That's
very
like
true
different and not the same shit.
I like the structure of Blap Out.
Up close shots of these for all the viewers and everybody. We know a lot of people request to see the jars and they want to see up close stuff. Beautiful weed, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
And it's like all
this is full sun outdoor.
It's funny. It's funny because you talk about the hype and stuff and how quick it passes by, and that's exactly why people are craving the classics right now.
Yeah.
Because they're like, damn, we kept going on all this hype, and then now we don't even have the fucking originals around.
Sour Diesel,
and it's noticeably fucking
so when that comes around, that's almost the exotic now.
Yeah,
where people are like, holy shit.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's now become exotic.
Now it's like you put some runts and they're like, I've seen 100 variations of this in the past 2 weeks. You bring out an OG or a sour and people get excited. They're like, what the fuck?
This one smells great.
I haven't seen this.
That one is, I think that's the Fruit Loops, right?
Oh yeah,
that sounds right. This smells
Blap out.
Blap out. That's one of our strains that we made.
This shit's interesting.
Yeah, I love the structure. It reminds me of the
that
old
one's
school
really
sours or
yeah.
Damn, what does that smell like?
I know, right?
It's very
Smell
interesting.
this one.
That one's
It's
got
hard to
a little.
pinpoint.
What the terp probably is osmine terp. There's an osmine terp that has this really deep hidden smell that I was like, it's hard to describe.
That's a racy high, huh? That's like
It's the more
That
sativa
one
you-
is.
I
Yeah.
can tell just by smelling it. It wakes me up. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, so smoking.
What
It's
was
gonna.
cool about that one is we
smell that.
started patch of seeds. We had started 10 seeds of it or however many. Had our females. We planted our females we liked, and we had one that turned, and we had the extra ones in pots. That one, one of them turned female, the rest were males or whatever on the extras. We could always hate to kill plants, so we put that phenotype next to a tomato plant, and it's 1 gallon pot, and just buried soil over the pot. Put it next to the tomato plant where it's already going to get hand
see
water.
if it survives and what it turns out to be.
So the homie at the farm hand watered that shit all year. Everything's on drip at our farm except for that one plant. It's the only plant on the farm. He hand watered it the whole time, and it ended up being that phenotype where we kept the clone now. It's super special.
Yeah,
It's
we're
it was the one we didn't pick that was in the pot. 1 gallon pot.
Ain't that the truth?
isn't
Always. You're like, number 72 is the one, and they look back and they're like, that we don't got that one.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
And that's something else for people trying to, wanting to get into outdoor growing or something to, figure out your climate and everything. And don't if you want to get into outdoor growing, you got to be willing to put time into it. And and know it's you're in it. It's not just a quick little thing. You throw out a plant and harvest it and, I got some fire outdoor. You got to hunt down shit that works good for your area, for your spot, or something that you just tend to want that calls to you or in general. So it takes time. It takes experience. So you can't just jump into it and be like, I got this bomb strain from him. I'm going to kill it at my spot.
A lot of times too, throughout the years, people on the hype and on even say cookie stuff or whatever as the main hype. It's the indoor stuff people are hyped on. You grow it outdoor, doesn't quite look the same. It's not quite the look in general. It's just not quite the same. So that throws it off. Instantly throws it off the look right away. It's not what they're used to.
What's the number one thing people look for in outdoor weed? Is it terps? Are they the smell first, or are they going after look first right now?
I would say looks are still a huge part about the outdoor, but the terps have to be just behind that.
Yeah, it's these days it's funny. They're getting picky, so it's they want to see it looking nice and
Trimmed really nice,
and it's got to
super
have
trimmed nice,
super trimmed, tight.
We
and nice.
trim our shit a little looser. We like our flower not tight.
Farmer style.
Some of this stuff, so we trimmed ourselves all this stuff. So everyone else seems to like it tighter. So our stuff that goes in the 8s for the clubs and stuff, we have our trimmers that they trim it tighter, and we don't like it all the way, but we just go with the flow because everyone else seems to want it like that.
Yeah.
And even our homies will show them it and they're like, it trimmed it up a little tighter. And we're like, fuck, man, Jesus Christ.
We used to call that the Florida
Everybody's
trim.
a connoisseur now.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And the thing with the strain change too, we all with new strains, we always like new strains too. We grow from seed a lot, new every time. Phenotypes are always new. We love new things too, but we don't follow the herd where we have to hear the name before we like it. We have homies that if they hear the name and it's not a name that's already hyped up, and they look at the flower, it's already a down a notch. It's already B grade now. It's not
in their mind even before they even saw it. They're like, oh, it's not.
It's so many people. They just go off the name alone before they get to know what they want to like. To look at it first, smell it. Do you like it, or does someone else like it? Because everyone likes that. Do you like it yourself, really, or what? Or is this weed not hype, but it's still cool? This one here is the Samo of it, and it's really different and it's really cool. But it's it's so different. And
beautiful.
It's not hype. It doesn't have any big hype behind it.
What's your guys' top banger that you guys kind of keep in rotation or try to keep around?
OG and the Headies.
This is we call it Headies. The homie that introduced us to TGA, he passed away 3 years ago. And after he died, he
this is the lost turf.
Yeah, that's the OG. That's the real old school. Super
hacks
duper
of this
nice.
shit.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
After
Now you can't even find that.
I haven't
It
seen
used to
it.
be
And we
all
tried
OG,
to find
all
it.
sour.
I
And
know.
We got to make a trip to Mendo, dude.
2017, 2018.
I feel like you
Not
guys
even that long ago.
down
Yeah.
south had way more fire Kush cuts than up north.
They're
too.
gone
Every
now.
time we tried to get a Kush cut, we never got the one that was what we
right?
smoked.
This shit was
Great
funky.
OG, bro.
Super nice.
And it's oily. I touched
oily.
it and I can start to, my fingers already oily just from touching the
I
bud.
can see why this would be the top hitter right
That
here.
one now is
This is what people can't really get anymore.
Yeah, and it's funny because the hype talk is not all OG till
Candy.
just last year. Maybe people are like, OG's coming back again. And we've always grown everything, but we've liked OG, but we never found the real one. And sour always sold for years as growing up. Sour was king forever, but we didn't want to grow sour because it grows like shit. It's hard to grow. If you do the math on how much we can get from a tree, we get 10 pounds from this plant, or 4 pounds from this. That weed's only going to sell for 400 more. Do the math. 10 pounds of this for cheaper is going to make more money. Why would we grow sour?
What's some top shelf outdoor full sun going for right now in the market? Like what's for top shelf?
Top shelf?
Yeah, outdoor.
Like just like a pound wholesale style. Like I think some people maybe can get like a G, maybe like 900. I think is easily possible with the right weed. That's like easily possible at a high.
That's high.
Everything they want about it.
The strain, the look, the smoke.
Everything hits everything AAA.
Yeah. Maybe 900, and that's like the Oreos looking stuff. Yeah, indoor. It still has to look like indoor, pretty much.
I'd say more of like the top average. These top
better
these days
terps
is like it's like in the like sixes.
6 for regular weed. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite breeders you guys have bought seeds from and grown outdoors that you're like, these are all stars outdoors for us?
Like,
is there?
After Subcool, we started growing exotic genetics, Mike, and we stuck with him. Like we haven't got new strains in a little bit because we've been working on our own strains, but he was like a go-to. Exotic Mike has such fire.
Yeah.
So many times we had great results with everything we bought from him.
Yeah, he's a veteran in the game. He knows what he's breeding for. He knows like, oh, this is going to be a hash maker. This, like, going into it, he has so much explanation behind like, okay, grease monkey. Okay, so this is a hash maker and we notched it up for gas, but it has the same yield as a cookies and cream. And yeah, he's an exceptional breeder who, it's funny how like the industry opened up for people showing their faces and everything. He was doing that a while ago, but he's even harder to get to now than I feel like he was back in the day. We used to go to his booth and you'd be able to talk to him and buy seeds. Now he's even more removed. And it's interesting how some of these breeders just don't get the shine, but like these are mega stars. Like he's a mega star in the cannabis culture world.
For sure, yeah.
The strains he's made is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like
the amount of cups he's won, the amount of awards, the amount of growers who have then taken his work and made other work off of it.
The strains that he made that everyone else is crossed to, that's going to be around forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, cookies and cream in a dep house, especially for rosin now, let's go. I mean, I used to joke with my buddy. All right. So you, out of 60 feet, put 10 feet of Skittles and the rest, all cookies and cream, run them together. People will buy all of it like it's Skittles. You know, like we used to game plan these like bullshit moves. Yeah, like dude.
Yeah, for sure.
What's some of the stuff you guys have coming up that you're looking forward to? Like what should people be watching out for?
Oh man, well, at the moment we are, gearing up to kind of get back on the road soon and do some more shows. So we're going to be heading out to like Pennsylvania for 420 this year for the big cannabis festival.
We just got told that by Randy Lanier, smuggler, that he did 28 years, and he was saying it's fucking crazy, like 8 to 10,000 people for 420. And
it's more than that. It's like 20.
He was telling like the hemp or what is it? What do you got?
They kind of do a lot of hemp talk, to keep it legal.
The cannabis festival.
Yeah, a lot of hemp.
He was saying it's insane, and I was just like, that many fucking people for
it's for real.
Holy shit!
It's not Emerald Cup. How dope Emerald Cup ever was, but it's like back in the day shit when we go out to these other states. It's like way chill, dude. Cali went to shit with events as soon as it went legal. The legal thing ruined everything.
It's crazy how much a lot of these events, like you mentioned, Emerald Cup, like some of my fondest memories were the early days of Emerald Cup.
Yeah, Emerald Cup was like, if you look back, like when we get 80 or something, Emerald Cup was like super special, dude. Like those times were like, you can't get that many people together. You can't see that much shit going on, and
passing around a pinner, and you're like, remember Emerald Cup, man?
The shit was, and even the High Times Cups too were super dope. And when we started working with Stub and getting cool with him, he was doing booths like crazy. So we'd be booth was popping in the beginning. Like, it was so busy. It would be lines and lines. He'd make so much money every weekend. It was crazy. Go to Denver and stuff and do cups out the High Times Cup.
He crushed it in Denver. That's where I first got into his stuff.
So it would be like, cups were so fun. The whole crew, we go out to big ass dinners afterwards.
Yeah.
Hella fun times, hotel rooms and all the fun stuff. And none of that.
Now,
I think it's going to, reemerge.
I hope
it's
so.
Just you got to go find it now.
Yeah.
And the problem is used to be that would be the only thing going on. Now it's like you talk 420 and it's like, where are you going to go? You could go here, you could go there. It's everywhere. So
for sure,
it does get spread out, you know?
Yeah.
But we go to New York City the past few years for 420 and it's been fucking nuts.
Yeah, I bet. We haven't been to New York, so you got to
come. Washington Square Park. But just like Cali, that will die out, and where will emerge next? Who knows?
Because the way that it's working is like, if you just take a step back and look at it, it's as like what happened to every other industry. That's what's going to happen. It's every other industry.
It gets normalized. It loses its compelling factor of like, whoa, damn, this is so new. But that happens to everything in every industry.
And then the industry of the the corporate style of the takeover too has happened to every other industry. So like we talk about it recently, like we're all struggling hard up in there, and we'll triangle. The only reason we're not even dead right now is because of music. Like the music's half our life and the farm's half our life. We try to keep it 50-50 as much as possible. We don't want to do too much farm stuff still, even to this day, like full time. And we don't want to stop doing the music, so it's like we just cut it in half.
Well, we probably saw the 2 hardest seasons in the books for a while, last 2, right?
Yeah.
After Corona, like it was probably been the roughest 2 seasons since.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah. And the prices we were getting easily $800 for everything through the clubs after all the fees were gone for the outdoor. And then it dropped to like that. When it dropped, it was like $200. People get $200. There's so many people that left their gardens to rot because it's going to cost so much for labor and trimming. Trimming alone is $100, like average. Some people get it cheaper. Some people do a little more. So if you get $200 a pound, you know what I mean? You're paying, what are you doing?
Yeah. Even it probably costs you about $50 to grow it. And then now you're going to trim it for $50. I mean, you're down to pennies.
Yeah. And then the taxes, like the way that it trickles, there's nothing. So even at where it is right now at $500-600 a pound, it's still fucked, and it's got better than it was when it dropped. But it's staying at this new standard, which is like, if you do your shit right and you do the nice bags and you do the circle where you have lots of products and stuff, then I think you can do good. But it's really hard. And people in the Emerald Triangle are like, I don't know if they're struggling more than everyone else in Cali, but it seems like we're really struggling out there. The county fucked a lot of shit up with permitting. And people wasted a lot of time. A lot of time was wasted this transitional time. And they said things aren't supposed to be big yet, and we're capped at 10,000. Everyone else gets to grow acres. And that's a problem too. Yeah. And we wanted it to be like that. But that screwed us, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, when people are growing fields, and
between that and all the eradication that was specialized in those specific areas, because they went really fucking hard
right before it went legal. Those areas people were getting fucked for days.
Other areas, they're kind of like they're not even on top of it. They're like, oh yeah, it just kind of goes under the radar, right? And it keeps flowing. But up in that area specifically, since you guys were the first through the door, it's kind of like where it ends up, they
got a bone to pick with us.
Yeah, they're just equipped for it.
Yeah.
They're ready for it. They're like, we got all this shit, we got all these people, we got to keep it going because it becomes a business in itself. And then the shops and all that other stuff, once people are paying these big licensing fees and all this other shit, they're going to keep complaining and bitching and meeting and we got to get rid of the black market guys so that we can keep our shops open so we can keep paying you guys your money on the, taxes and licensing. And it just becomes this whole cycle of, an industry that the grassroots are being killed off. And it's crazy too. Cause like where you guys are from and all the areas up there, it's not even just a weed game that relies on it. It's literally the entire community.
Like the last 2 years since it hit this fan, hella businesses closed.
So many.
And COVID already was wiped people out,
Oh yeah.
It was like a stretch of just
grow shops,
and restaurants, having to move and shit and go elsewhere.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I think about it all the time. Like, how do people even get food sometimes? How do people have enough money to survive? It's super crazy out there. It doesn't make sense. Like, what's happening, COVID was like a tease of COVID was crazy too, because right during COVID is when things were really selling good too. Like after it hit, it was weird how it picked up. And we realized, what's happening? I see what's happening. They're doing this on purpose or pumping money in. Everyone's spending all their money real quick. But then when that stopped, it was like, then it totally changed.
Now we got to pay for it for decades to come.
Yeah.
And there's no just pumping more money into it. It's like, there's no quick fix for this problem.
Yeah.
You know,
I would have easily said, nope, we're good with like the rise in prices.
Yeah.
To see the swing on the other end went so much harder down than it went up in the beginning.
And it never comes down. So that's the problem.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And so it's like super hard for farms to make money right now, for sure.
It's good that you guys are pioneers in the putting your face to it, showing what you're doing. Hey, here's right on YouTube. Like I'm watching all your videos and it's so clear that like, oh yeah, these guys are really doing it. Like there's no couple plants and let me rap about it. It's like, oh shit, a hedge. And you guys are talking about taking the top layer off and letting the lower buds mature. And you're showing the different strains, what's successful outdoors. So much usefulness for anyone who's wanting to plant a seed outside to watch you guys' videos. Like that's how I got put onto you guys was YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Where I was like, oh shit. When I'm seeing you stand up and the plant's 2 or 3 of you, I was like, okay. And then you guys talking about what it takes to, you know, you don't see issues on the plant that the leaves on the bottom are just as happy as the leaves on the top. Like it takes a lot of years of knowledge of failing to get to where you guys are now. If people just cling on to some of this knowledge and learn, I mean, you save yourself 5-6 years minimum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
First, it's crazy how many people over the years have hit us up with messages like from like, I'm talking like all parts of the world. And they're like, guys, I really watched your YouTube videos. I studied this shit and check out what my garden did this year. And they'll show us pictures and it's like, they're like damn near Mendo Dope looking plants. Like they got them like same style as us. And like, I literally like tripled my harvest this year. Like I'm able to help my grandma or my mom so much more. The weed is better. I got more of it. It's helping me out. That kind of shit just like fuels our fire, you know, to keep on educating and keep pushing and trying to get that to more people. We're trying to just spread that, you know, to help. Everybody should be able to grow their own fucking personal garden in the world, you know. Everyone should be able to have their own plant in the back, to have their own medicine, to play around with it. It's a fucking, you know, this is a natural herb. This is bringing the planet together. This is healing the planet. It's bringing everyone together, and they're still, you know, still dealing with bullshit.
Yeah. Even older people, they like to turn it into tea. Things like that.
Yeah.
I think that it also gives you purpose too. And sometimes older people feel like they don't have much purpose going on. So they keep a garden going because they look forward to yielding some. It gives you that annual purpose too.
It's rewarding as hell.
Anything, it would recommend it to everyone. Yeah. Just do something, keep some plants. Yeah. Try to grow some plants. It's super good for you.
It's a blessing too when you're able to live off the land. Cause like we live in LA right now and it's like, dude, I couldn't live off the land if I like where I'm at. And shit. It's like, there isn't, I don't even think I have fucking soil on my whole property.
Oh, you'd have Fusarium in a day out here. You know? Yeah, it's great.
It's tough. So, you know, it's like to have that up there and, you know, for the people that do have it, make use of it, you know, take advantage.
Full circle.
It's a blessing.
And it is special, like you're saying too. Like we've known for all these years growing up and realizing, and it down to the MSNBC shit. It was like talking about Emerald Triangle. It was always Emerald Triangle, Emerald Triangle. And we're like, damn, this is our shit. You know, we live here. This is us. And it was always Humboldt too. So as we started doing music, we need to make Mendo, like put Mendo on the map. Like Humboldt's been on the map. They take all the shine. We're like, Mendo needs some shine.
A lot of big people would always rep, oh, I got that Humboldt weed and all this stuff. We're like, what the fuck? They're coming right past us, dude.
That's for real though. Yeah. That's dope.
Tell me about the video you shot, the one thing, and you're covered in ladybugs from head to toe.
Oh, that was the ganja goat video.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was like, what is he win? Then I was like, oh, that's ladybugs. Like, I mean, everywhere.
30,000 ladybugs.
30,000 ladybug drop, completely covered. It was definitely one of the weirdest things ever. It felt weird as hell.
Holy shit.
Billions of little legs walking there. They're getting in everywhere.
It looked like he had been rained on. I was like, oh, it's raining. And then I was like, oh, what? Yeah. And I leaned in and I zoomed in the screen and I was like, oh shit, that's
like,
why.
Ladybugs are like the least creepiest bugs, and then it gets to that level, it was creepy all of a sudden. It was like, whoa, ladybugs are this is too much.
I mean, yeah, it was gnarly. I was like spitting them out of my mouth while I'm trying to do the verse and shit. Like I'm talking like hours later. I think it was even when I was driving down the mountain. I was like opening up my pants, like in between my boxer ring right here. Like, there's a ladybug in here. Jesus Christ! Like
you helped the whole county. With that drop, the whole county was good.
Down the mountain. Yeah. We had that idea for a bit, and when we were planning to shoot that video, we're like, oh, we should do it in this one. And at the time, the farm we were working on, he had to connect with this dude out at his property. He had this section out in this forest area that ladybugs would come to and like mate and do their thing. Like,
Oh, these were wild.
yeah, like he was
which is illegal, I guess. But it's not us.
It's not. It ain't no one.
I mean, allegedly wild.
Allegedly,
Yeah, he has
layers
them on
like
his property.
scoot, go out and
He said unlimited.
scoop like crazy.
I gotta see it. I never seen it. But
Dude, that's like a gem for most people's gardens. They'd be like, can I please come get?
Yeah.
And now they're wild ladybugs. So they're used to eating predators where it's not like they were raised in a farm and fed certain things. And now it's like, okay, now go eat aphids and mites. Like who knows what they were feeding them on the come up, where this is like,
they're bred out there.
Yeah.
They're ready for
That's
it.
fucking awesome.
that is cool, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it worked out. We're like, that's the only time we're ever gonna be able to do this idea, because it's not like we're gonna go out there and buy fucking 100 of these little fucking ladybug containers.
$1,000 worth of ladybugs. Yeah.
He had the hookup.
They're like, what would your budget for your music video go towards? You're like, well, we had to buy 30,000 ladybugs. They'd be like, what?
If we had like,
Don't worry about it.
Signed to a label that had a budget for us, the ideas we'd have for music videos is out of control. There's so many music videos that we do ourselves, and we only have limited ability to do stuff. And there's so many ideas we have that we're like, we just can't do it ourselves. We need to pay a badass to do these things.
And we have ideas that that exceed our ability.
Yeah,
That's
by
good.
far. Yeah, by far.
Who's the ultimate collab? Who's someone you'd look forward to collabing with that you're like, oh man, we've been wanting to collab with this person?
Really, I'd say Cypress Hill. Like Be Real and the crew Send Dog, and like to
all
get
of
the whole
them.
squad in
Yeah.
Bobo like together. Our ultimate
They
goal,
like percussion too.
our ultimate goal would be to bring them out to the garden to record like we've done our previous albums, is Live in the Garden. Which if people haven't checked that out, we bring our studio into the garden, set up everything, and record everything outside like from scratch. We write the music in the garden.
Even like the couple CDs were off grid, we have the gardens are on solar. So it's like this whole CD is made outside, powered by the sun, live instruments, drums, horns,
guitar, bass, like everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like we'd been doing it, like once we got into reggae music, we started doing live instrument stuff way more. And I was making the beats, like I'll make a beat and then I'll be like, oh, my guitar is keyboard, shitty sounding guitar. I want real guitar. And then we started doing that all the time. I get now any song I make, I'm like, oh, if I'm making a song and whatever the beat comes out to be like, I'll just know if I want something. So we started just realizing how easy that is to get live instruments on stuff too. It's way cooler music. And then we started playing our concerts with a band. We started learning our music to do it live instead of DJ rap style, because we wanted to be more like real music and not like, we always felt like if we did it with the band and really mastered it with the band, it's super fun and more musical, but it's like we could get further than like Daniel on the stage as a hip hop rapper with a DJ. It's like not just being white, but just something about white rappers that's like, it's like they don't look as cool. You know what I mean? With a band and stuff.
You're trying to say I don't look cool?
I don't know. It's like,
well, now look at most of the shows now have full live band behind them.
Yeah,
you see that with like all live artists.
It's a whole different element.
And there's so many like goofballs on stage that rap, and they're just like trying to be everyone else. They try to follow what's on MTV. They try to follow all the stuff they've seen other rappers do. You know what I mean? And we wanted to not be like that's like that full rapper style. We're way more hip hop. Like we are also super inspired by KRS-One. Like so much knowledge from him, and like way more than like being a rapper and stuff. And the hip hop is so much different. And we get categorized as rappers from different people that first listen to our music or whatever, or think like, oh, you do rap music or whatever. And it's like, it's way different, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a hip hop, and it's also super reggae and rock and all this stuff.
It's
the guitars behind the beats and the whole deal.
Culture music.
I'm inspired super much these days by like Tech Nine and like this producer Seven too. Like they do like every genre of music, like so cool to mix every genre.
Genre bending, and that's going to like the reggae on the river and these different festivals. Like it was a lot different watching these kind of reggae shows compared to like hip hop shows that we would go to and watch, like even big artists that we loved, like Andre Nicotina and all these kind of different people that would be really cool shows. But then to see it, how like different artists were doing it with a live band with no tracks, it's all on the spot, and just like how big and how much cooler and more depth the music had to be able to manipulate songs and not just the same exact song. It's like there's little differences in it, and just like how much fun it looked, so we were like, and the ability to play different, like opportunities to play different festivals and things, like to be able to come out with a band and play shit live is different than just rocking out on a DJ set.
100%.
So like as like a shout out to our bandmates, they're the biz, you know, the Johnny Fingers, our guitar player, Trevor Lyons, the bassist, and Mr. Blap on the drums. And we've been working with them for years. And like Mr. Blap, we met him through Reek Daddy back when we were first working on our first album. So Blap was like helped with stuff on our very first album. And then years later, we ended up working with him and forming the band when he told us, oh, I used to play drums. And we're like, well, what the hell? We started playing with this other band for a little bit and it didn't work out. And then we're like needing a new drummer. And then he mentioned it and it started to formulate. And like Trevor Lyon, we had started collabing with him on the first Planters of the Trees album in 2013. And he had been doing live music for a long time. So he was like,
live. Yeah, he's been doing live band. So he's bass player for all kinds of stuff.
So when he was coming through the studio, he would have him lay live bass on a track and change this up and do that. And then we started like, and then Trevor, his friend, Johnny Fingers, our guitarist, they worked in a band before for a long time. So they were already clicked up and friends. And we got Johnny on some songs, just recording in the studio with him. And then that's when we started forming, like maybe we could put together a band with all of us and start trying to really do something bigger. And then we started like after that, like it started becoming so much funner doing concerts, like live concerts with the band is so fun. Like both sides of it. DJ shows are really fun and always cool, but the band is a different level to it. Yeah. And it's like, it's been really awesome when we would have the opportunity to play some really cool shows with the guys and go all across the country and rock out. And it's fucking a lot of fun.
You see a lot of live entertainers that play live have now evolved from DJ sets to bands.
I see it a lot now. Yeah.
That are touring and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you see that progression happen. Yeah. And when it happens, you're just like, oh shit, this is like a production, a full show. Like this is, just gives it that bigger feel of more of a connection.
Yeah.
Just something being played. It's like you're watching it being played. Like it's not pre-recorded.
It's more to look at. Yeah.
Big difference.
And it sounds different. So it gives you like a slight variation on what you've already known. So it's like a little bit fresh to your ears still.
But you
versus just the same beat that you've played in your car 1,000 times.
Exactly. And bands will change things up all the time. Different solos could change. Like, like Pink Floyd or these other dudes, they have hundreds and hundreds of recordings of their sets and they're all different and they do different things all the time. People love it.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
We try to keep our music super live, like no tracks playing in the back, no click track, no nothing, super duper live. And it's like, it can change all the time, we don't have to be set in stone. We're really hard on ourselves, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
Where do people, if they want to listen to your music, buy CDs or even buy the Grow DVD, where do they get that?
They could go right to our website, mendodopemusic.com. We have all the links up there, all the shit for merchandise, for CDs, clothes, and then on the Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, all the music videos, all the streaming stuff has all the music on it.
All under Mendo Dope Boys.
Although they're just Mendo Dope. Mendo Dope Boys, we had to do that because Instagram deleted us multiple times, so we had to...
they won't even let us use our name anymore. It's super fucked up too, because it's like, with us, with the music, it's like, I've seen it like Cypress Hill and Redman. Redman's talked about it before. How much opportunities he missed talking about weed. Just talking about weed a little bit. Back in the day, he lost Pepsi deals, sneaker deals, all these deals. And then even to this day, us doing weed music is like flagging the shit out of our music because we're too much weed involved in the music. So now our music, like we'd have to do 2 totally separate pages to have our music be able to not get messed with. So us doing too much weed messes our music vibe up. If we didn't do so much weed music, we would probably be a lot bigger in the music game because our shit would click in better algorithms and get on playlists and we could sound more like whatever too, the other people are talking about. So it's very interesting that to this day, it's still, especially social media.
It's an uphill battle.
It's an uphill battle. We've been walking the line with them for so long, but we never wanted to, stop or sacrifice what we were really trying to do, like this is what we want to do. This is what we're trying to put out. And we got to just keep trying to get it out and somehow get past their fucking shadow banning and all their bullshit to get it seen. But it makes it hard with a lot of stuff that we do, videos that are in the garden, or album covers with plants on them and all this stuff, because we incorporate our music and weed fully. It's fully rooted together.
But you can do 2 live crew. But you know what I'm saying? That's the shit side of the things, is that it's an unfair advantage where the day that social media allows cannabis and not just deleting profiles, regulating, shadow ban, I mean, that'll be the day for so many people to actually break out. I mean, there's so many great brands that get deleted overnight, and it's like, no repercussion, start over. It'd be like telling someone like 10 years into business, like, let's lose most of your customers and not let them find your address. You just move addresses and then start over. It's like, holy shit.
It's the most shadiest shit that's ever happened. Weed as a whole, like, we used to think it was just Mendo that was getting fucked with, you know? Then we realized, okay, it's the whole, everyone's even
It's the
worse
whole
than
cannabis
Mendo. Then it's
scene.
the world, really. And then also, like, when did it go illegal? You know what I mean? Was it just illegal in California when it saw prohibition and all the hate happened with Reagan and whatever? Or that happened worldwide all at the same time? You know what I mean? How did the whole world hate weed all of a sudden together after the 1800s or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Whenever the hell.
Good marketing campaigns from alcohol and tobacco.
For the whole world. Like,
Everybody and the trends follow from right here, America. Other people look to see and they're like, yeah,
America started the shit.
And then now it's changing though, because they're not following it anymore.
No.
And it's like getting to the point now to where we should start taking a look around, like how China is banning TikTok for kids and shit.
Yeah, it's smart.
And they made it.
Yeah, they
know
have
what I'm
to
saying?
know. That's
So
smart.
it's
They're
like-
smart. They have to know something.
But if you think about it, these kids, like, they can't pay attention to shit because they're just scrolling on TikTok all fucking day.
I seen a video on Instagram of
It's rotting their
a
fucking
2-year-old
brains.
kid sleeping.
Yeah, it's
nuts.
real.
Just
It's nuts.
sleeping and scrolling.
Well, it's like what, Shanghai, where you can gamble if you're not from there. But if you're, you know, there's like certain areas where they're like, and they don't allow any
We're gonna
locals to
protect you
gamble.
guys.
Yeah. But anyone outside money, you're good to go.
but none of our people are going to be fuck ups.
It's interesting.
That's smart.
It's very smart. Yeah, and it
Hate to
shows
say
how
it's
shady
smart
it
as
is. It
fuck.
shows what it's not. That's not a good thing. Can be a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should take notes at some level. Like, oh shit, they created this. It's if you look at TikTok on what they show, the Chinese version, it's like education videos and all this
Really?
other stuff. Yeah, it's
And
not
we
even
watch the shit?
now. And on ours, it's like just polluting.
I never got into it, and it sucks because I know there's money to be made on TikTok, but I just cannot force ourselves to doing it, and they hate on weed already, so that's a very uphill battle.
Oh, you can't even have smoke. I mean, you can barely talk about it. We've tried a few TikTok accounts, and it's like, it's hard enough just on Instagram, you know, and YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys have a great following on YouTube, man. You've built up an awesome career of
YouTube
like,
never got deleted,
no, and you guys got real in-depth videos too.
Yeah.
Shit that's
hours, so many hours.
Yeah.
We did
Yeah,
that,
lots of hours.
We spent a lot of time.
This year was
filming.
our 10th year filming grow documentaries on YouTube.
I don't think anyone, like, if we were to like try to boast and brag and we try to like promote things like that, no one's, I don't think, ever filmed from start to finish for 10 years straight, legacy style. You know what I mean? Before this whole 10 years from this last year in a row, everything from start to finish, whatever fuck happened. You know what I mean? This shit happens. Everything happens. We always end up with a good garden at the end of the year. All the times throughout the spider mite episodes and the rust hits and then the aphids hit and plants that get powder or mold or root rot and die all fully. The whole thing for 10 years, dude. It's like, no one's done that. Sub was doing it, but I don't think he had 10 years of footage.
No.
And that's indoor. And
that was different market back
different
then.
style. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just crazy to think. Like, it's super crazy. It's somehow we got to keep the legacy people fucking pushing.
Passion and knowing that the market, it's going to get tougher, but it's evolving. Like this year is going to be better than last year. And like we go through ups and downs, and yes, there's going to be overproduction, but we're also seeing that MSOs have a hard time producing good weed.
Yeah.
We also see that, most people grow mediocre ass herb because they don't want to put the time in. It'd be the same in any job they do. Right. So you can kind of parallel like, okay, if they'd be shitty at Burger King, they're going to be shitty at growing weed. And that's a good amount of people that have a hard time. It takes a lot of dedication and you have to be passionate about it. Two things that if you're not passionate about cannabis, as soon as the price drops, you're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you will outlast these people. And that's in any business. When it gets hot, everyone wants to jump in. And when it gets tough, well, guess what? The people who were doing it before will probably still be doing it. And when MSOs come in, they thought, well, we'll just buy it all up. And then they've realized, damn, that's a lot harder than we thought, this business. So then they start to back out of the business, which leaves a gap. So who knows what it'll evolve to and what will happen. I think rosin really helped greenhouse and outdoor. I think that market is where it will evolve to, because no one's asking for rosin right now. Is this indoor rosin, outdoor rosin, or greenhouse rosin?
Ever since our homie Mr. Bond got us to make hash, I said, that's hilarious. because no one gives
resin
a fuck
is
if it's
resin.
outdoor
Good
or
resin
indoor no
is
more.
good resin.
And some
Indoor
people
or outdoor.
prefer.
It's really
Yeah,
better.
see?
It's hard to maybe get as a bright color, but not anymore, really. It's possible.
Pull them early. You know, you figure out your techniques like anything.
Trial and error. You figure
Yeah.
you
Which
work it.
strains come out lighter.
Strains are very specific on color.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of freeze drying techniques and other things they can do to keep it bright, but it's a lot of strain too.
We just had Nick T on.
I saw that.
Yeah. And one of the
Shout
things
out to
he
the
literally
homie.
says is, I was like, what's the most important thing for hash making? He said, cultivar allocation. Knowing which hash makers I can run and get this result out. And that's the same with outdoor. Like Honey Banana, I know HAF, like they specialize in outdoor and greenhouse honey banana. Like, but yeah, I think that's where the market really will stabilize for outdoor and greenhouse guys, in my opinion, because flower will always be flower, but resin right now is like 15 years ago flower where you want weed. You don't be like, this is indoor no-till organic,
Yeah.
or is this outdoor full sun? They're not asking that with rosin. They're like, honey banana, oh dude,
Yeah.
all day.
Uh-huh.
And that's a sale. And it's going for the same price damn near, as long as the quality's there, as the indoor
Yeah,
resin.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
That's the market.
Crystals as a whole. Frenchie Cannoli was like, once we met Frenchie, he was a really cool dude. And he also opened our mind to lots of things. His life was crazy. He was a nomad around the world. He traveled everywhere with no money, nothing, and made hash around
Making
the
hash.
world. Craziest stories, dude. That dude was so badass.
Yeah, someone I wish we would have been able to have on before he
Yeah, he
passed,
would've
because
said-
the stories would have been. We
way-
got to smoke with him. Was it in Amsterdam? No, it was in
Chalice.
Barcelona. Oh, it was in Chalice. So it was here, and he brings this crazy water pipe, almost.
Big hookah thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and starts to put balls of hash on it.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Come and just take over a room.
That thing
everybody
fucks me up
excited.
multiple
Yeah, the way he
times.
talks and the shit he talks
Yeah.
about, people are hooked.
I'm like, I'm not a big hookah type of guy, but I'm hitting this, and it's Frenchies, and yep, sounds good.
It was crazy.
He's
Yeah.
such a cool
Yeah, it was
dude.
crazy.
And it was such an honor that he was friends with Sub, because Sub was so big that he met Sub and they linked up, and then we were cool with Sub. So we got to work with Frenchie, and he made hash for us for years and years. And he all opened our mind to, we're not growing weed, flower, the whole thing. We're growing trichomes. That's what the whole thing is.
Growing resin.
The resin is what the whole purpose is. So we started looking at our garden like, wow, if we're growing 100 pounds, dude, look how much, this is like 10 billion trichomes, dude, or like 100 trillion trichomes. If we're just growing trichomes, and then you turn it into a product, like you're saying, it's not outdoor nug no more. Now you turn those crystals into a product, rosin or anything else. It's fire, and it does no difference in what the sale is, indoor, outdoor, and you can do it for cheaper. 10 times cheaper.
When we sat down with Mila, she had like this beautiful, elegant way of putting it, of like, well, you smoke the trichomes and that's the active part, right? And that's where the flavor is, and that's where this. So why would you smoke the rest of the plant material? And it was like, next question. Yeah, you don't know. It's like, yeah, that's a great answer. I don't know, like I enjoy it, but I get your point. Like, yeah, she had a great, elegant way of putting it where you're like,
Yeah.
sounded like a poem. You know?
The way they talk,
Hit
so
you in the
cool.
brain like, make me think here.
You're like, I got it, I
Such
get
old school
it.
traditional style are so cool. Listening to them, the way they think, and
yeah.
just to soak up some of that, and it's not so much stuff they say are very opinionated, huh? Like, but it's cool to listen to and pick up what you think is what you like and what you believe in, or whatever. They have so much different opinions.
That's cannabis at whole, right? You get to really like share this knowledge, and you take with you what you want and you leave the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes you you. And you don't ridicule people for the way they do it differently. You accept the cool shit you learned or the stuff you didn't learn. My mom used to always say this, like, well, now you know what you don't want or you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you learn a hard lesson and you're like, okay, well, that partnership or that grow was a good lesson the other way.
Yep.
So I really, it was awesome sitting down with you guys. Like, I love what you guys are doing with recording all this and putting on DVDs and music and showing it off, because there's still people scared to sit in that seat and put their face on camera. So it's dope. You guys have been doing it for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we try to do it in a cool, positive way. Yeah, where people can see weed as it's not a bad thing too. We never try to talk about the money side of it or like any kind of, like, we love guns. We don't talk about guns in our shit. You know what I mean? Just because that's going to mess the weed thing up, because the weed's not about guns at all. We just like it on the side, but we can't promote that with the weed. It's like super cool.
Yeah.
You guys are positive guys, and keep doing what you're doing, man, for real. because it's going to catch up, and it's already been blessing you guys and blessing a ton of people, whole community. It's obvious to see. It's dope, man, for real. It's Mendo Dope.
Hey,
Home growers, great lessons in these videos you guys put out, and that's where the wave's growing. Home growers that want to listen to this while they're in the garden. That's the army.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
And it's good for the plant. Music's good for the plant. Yeah. It's like we've recorded an outdoor CD, and then we enter an Emerald Cup plant that was right behind the speakers and got second place or third place for the hash. Like in between Brandon third gen when it was winning everything. Like we took his third place when he swept. He would get first to seventh, years and years in a row.
Sweep and tough.
And it's like we feel like music helped that happen too.
We put that energy into it, but we always just try to bring definitely a positivity, education, and just like having fun with it. We know how hard the game is right now for everyone. It's a struggle, but we just want to let people know, the real people, just keep doing it, keep at it. Don't stop. There's enough space in this game for us to fit in here and make it work. And we just got to stay positive and have fun, because it's one life out here. We're just enjoying it. We're trying to make the planet better, trying to connect with everybody. And shout out to you guys for bringing this out to the culture and connecting people. We appreciate what you guys do.
I appreciate you, man. You mentioned a few people who have passed, so it just highlights enjoy it, enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah,
we just talked about 3 people that aren't 3 different people that aren't around.
Yep.
So very cool, man.
Fuck yeah, guys.
Hell yeah. You already know what it is, man.
If you don't know, we do a behind the scenes called Off the Mic, and everyone needs to we had Ed Bassmaster in here before. We get to talk a little bit further, smoke one, and we get to chop it up. So anyone who sees this podcast on YouTube know that there's more footage that we put on fsotd.com of us just chopping it up before and after this. A little bit deeper, a little bit uncensored.
The extra goodies.
Yeah.
You guys do a super good job. You guys are pro. It's really cool to see a podcast as pro as your guys is, because there's a new standard of podcasts, and this is it with the setup, with the whole thing. Mike's sounding nice. We have not a good setup. I feel like we do music a lot. We know our mic should be nice. If we're going to talk to people and do lives and interviews, even on the internet, it's important. So you guys have a champ setup. I like it.
So we got Pac, man. He just keeps pushing. He's like, better, more. We got this. Better.
It helps, dude. It all helps.
Yeah. It's a progression. Everything's got to improve.
Yeah, because I went back to your guys' beginning to the newest and it's a progression for sure.
It's gotten
better.
The first room, we had the logo cut off at the ceiling because we couldn't fit ourselves.
They custom painted it.
Dude.
All custom painted. How great was that?
We're just going to ride it out, bro. Let's keep rocking. Fucking, it is what it is.
They custom paint the wall and he zooms out and he's like, the logo's not in there. And we're like, it just got done. It's all fresh paint. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, and then it was before that, it was Pac at an Airbnb with a recorder, and he's like, everyone
Audio
talk,
only.
and then he'd listen back, he'd be like, all right, we're good. Go. And it's like, and then, it was a flip up table with wizard trees on this side and him and me on this side. Like, so what's it like been growing? And, no cameras, it's like,
everything to do it all on every site with the visual and the audio, because it's nice to have both.
Yep.
Super champ.
Hell
You guys are killing it, man. I love it.
We want to come up north this year for Croptober and shit.
better.
Like
I saw
September.
you went to the mansion.
We came too late.
That's
This past year. We're gonna come early this year.
I tell you what,
we'll definitely
too.
stop through Mendo. We're coming straight over,
If
man.
you guys
easy
want,
stop off
bring a
101.
couple mics and you could do a podcast thing live in the garden.
100%.
Yeah.
our
that would be
sound's
dope.
better,
Do
yeah.
something.
Be like this. Yeah, man. So,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
For real.
For real. Let's
Love
make it
your
happen.
guys. Love your guys' energy, man. Thanks for making the ride down, and
Hell yeah.
keep doing what you're doing, because the game needs more guys like you pushing.
Fuck yeah,
So,
man.
we
We're here to
appreciate you
stay.
guys.
We're grinding. We're representing the culture.
Hell yeah, you know what it is, man. First smoke of the day, the Mendo Dope Boys.
Yay, caca!
We're out. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Hey, stop. Before you leave, roll up another one. We got more episodes just like this. Click right here.
Oh shit, I lost the link. Oh, it's right here. If you like this episode, watch more. Click right here.
Right here.
So if you like this video and you want to see more videos just like it, I need you to click right up here and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Yo, First Smoke family, right here.